Okay, good evening, everybody. It's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We will start with an invocation led by Council Member Singh, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Council Member Parker. Please rise as you are able.
I'm going to do the Serenity Prayer tonight. If there's anybody that wants to do it along with me, you're very welcome to. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
Face the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, would you please call roll?
Councilwoman Fugit.
Here.
Councilwoman Helsley.
Here.
Councilwoman McKenzie.
Here.
Councilwoman Parker.
Here.
Councilwoman Ryder. Here. Councilman Roberto.
Here.
Councilwoman Singh. Here. Vice Mayor Smith.
Here.
And Councilman Thomas. Here. All members present, Mayor.
Okay. Next item is approval of our minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, 5A. Are there any items to be withdrawn? Okay. Are there any items to be postponed? Vice Mayor Smith, is your light? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I would make a motion to postpone item 10A. But before I do, I just want to make sure, it's my understanding that the appellant has sought new counsel. Is that correct, Mr. Klein? Are you representing the appellant?
You need to turn the
There's a
microphone
new
on.
button, the one on the right.
There you go. Hello,
Thank you, you're on.
Wayne Klein, Hodges, Dowdy, and Carson. I am now counsel as of 23 hours ago for your appellant and would appreciate a 2-week continuance so that we can work with the church.
Thank you. And it's my understanding that 2 weeks ago, we made a postponement for the church represented by Mr. Mullins. We've granted that so that the neighborhood, now some of which whom you represent.
Some, yes.
Had time to meet. I think I won't be making a motion to postpone again, so I will make a motion for now to postpone for 2 weeks.
Thank you very much.
Okay, motion has been made to postpone for 2 weeks. What's the item number? 10A. It's been made and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to postpone carries. Councilmember Roberto.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to make a postponement for item 10B. Both parties had requested a postponement for 2 weeks.
Second.
Motion made to postpone for 2 weeks. Item 10B has been made and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other items to be postponed? Are there any items requested to be added by motion? And there are no consent items. Okay. Moving right along to my mayor's report, I want to thank everybody who was able to make it to the State of the City address on Friday. Despite the rain, we had a great turnout, and it was wonderful to see so many members of the community there. As you know, that kicks off our budget process. So tonight you will see on the agenda is our first official reading of the budget, and per council's request, we have scheduled 4 weeks until the second reading. And of course, on May 16th is your legislative budget hearings where you will have opportunity to talk to the directors and cabinet members and ask detailed questions to your satisfaction. So we look forward to discussing these proposed investments throughout the coming weeks. Also want to remind everyone that the farmers market returns to Market Square tomorrow morning. Help support local farmers and artists every Wednesday and Saturday from tomorrow through November. The first market of the season, again, opens tomorrow, Wednesday morning, 10 a.m., and pretty soon it'll be strawberry season, so you might want to get them while they last. Quick reminder, those who wish to speak either to a specific agenda item or during public forum should sign up with the city recorder, Mr. Johnson, ahead of time. Please do not use profanity, and when speaking to specific agenda items, please remember to stay on topic. Remarks must be germane to the question ahead of the assembly. That is, statements must have bearing on whether the pending motion should be adopted. Those who fail to adhere to these rules will be ruled out of order and asked to step away from the podium. For those who are listening, please note, you may not disrupt a public meeting from the audience. Those who do may be asked to leave. I thank everyone in advance for their respect for these rules, and that concludes my mayor's report. Are there any reports of council members? Councilmember Roberto.
Thank you, Mayor. Knoxville, in a very loving and wholehearted way, has embraced our family over the last 2 weeks. And I want to send a thank you to Mayor Concanon, my colleagues on City Council and Knox County Commission for all that you have done in support of our family during this absolutely heartbreaking time. We have truly felt loved and appreciate everyone. Everyone in here and out there who reached out to us with calls and texts, cards, food deliveries, prayers, and just kind words. Truly, thank you. Kylie was without a doubt the kindest person I've ever known, and it has warmed our hearts to see this community show us such incredible kindness in recent days. People from all over East Tennessee, friends, neighbors, people we barely know or don't know at all, took time to send us notes and kind words of encouragement. Every one of them asked the same question: how can I help? What I've come to realize is that is what Knoxville does when times are tough. We embrace each other and we embody the true volunteer spirit. Can we take a moment and remember that's who we really are? I ask this in memory of Kylie, that we move forward with a spirit of kindness, collaboration, and always asking, how can I help? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other council members? Oh, Councilmember Ryder.
Yeah, I would just like to announce, this is not actually a city activity, but the Knoxville Symphony Orchestra is having a free concert on Thursday, May 9th at 7:30 p.m. at the World's Fair Amphitheater. It's about an hour long. We went last year, and it's a great free performance there by part of the symphony. And so I encourage anybody to go if you have time to put that on your calendar.
Thank you. Any other council reports? Okay, moving right along to item 9A.
9A is an ordinance to amend Chapter 16, Article 16 of the Knoxville City Code to prohibit personal delivery devices on city streets, sidewalks, and rights-of-way.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Council members, we have one person signed up to speak in opposition and two in favor of this item. We'll start with those in favor.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Fatima El Hassan, are you present? Okay, please come to the podium, turn on your microphone, oh, it's already on, and please start by stating your name and address for the record, and you will have up to 5 minutes to address council on the item before them, item 9A, about personal delivery services.
Sorry, one second. Let me pull up the document.
Okay, so you can go ahead and start the clock.
Okay. Do I introduce myself? Sorry, can you go over the procedure again?
You have to state your name and address for the record.
Okay. Hi, my name's Fatima El Hassan. 37923. Today, I stand before you to discuss the proposed ordinance to prohibit the use of personal delivery devices, or PDDs, on our city streets, sidewalks, and right-of-way. This is a matter not just of urban planning or technological advancement, but of safeguarding the fabric of our community and the livelihoods of our citizens. First and foremost, we must consider the impact of these autonomous robots on our workforce. PDDs, by design, replace human jobs, jobs that are currently held by hardworking delivery drivers, many of whom are our neighbors, friends, and family members. These are individuals who rely on these jobs for their livelihood. Adopting such technology risks putting these hardworking individuals out of work, increasing unemployment, and destabilizing families. We must question the advancement of a technology that potentially harms those who contribute daily to our economy and community well-being. Furthermore, it's crucial to consider the accessibility and the safety of our sidewalks. Sidewalks are a public good meant for the safe passage of people, particularly those among us who are handicapped or have mobility issues. Our city sidewalks should not become testing grounds for robots that navigate through pedestrian areas. During our 6-month moratorium, studies conducted by city staff in collaboration with the Mayor's Council on disability issues have shown that our current infrastructure is not suited to accommodate these devices without risking the safety and convenience of pedestrians, especially those with disabilities. Introducing PDDs to these environments could obstruct their path, complicate their daily commutes, and diminish their quality of life. It's important to recognize that while technology can bring convenience, it should not do so at the expense of accessibility and community welfare. The charm of Knoxville lies in its community-focused approach, ensuring that every resident feels safe, valued, and heard. By allowing PDDs on our sidewalks, we risk compromising these values. In conclusion, while the advancement of technology often brings many benefits, it is our responsibility as stewards of this city to ensure that such benefits do not undermine the essentials of community life and employment stability. Thus, I urge all our members of the council to support this ordinance. Let us prioritize human jobs, safeguard pedestrian right-of-ways for all our citizens, and ensure that Knoxville remains a city that values human interaction and community beyond impersonal technology. Thank you for your attention and your commitment to the welfare of all Knoxville residents. Cease fire now.
Please don't disrupt the meeting from the audience and stay germane and on the topic. Ellis Conley, you're next. Please state your name and address for the record. You have up to 5 minutes to address council on the topic of item 9A.
Thank you very much, Your Honors. My name is Ellis Connolly, District 3. Ladies and gentlemen of Knoxville City Council, esteemed members of the community, I stand before you today to advocate for this ordinance that is not only crucial for the safety and well-being of our citizens, but also for the preservation of our city's pedestrian-friendly environments. The proposal to amend Chapter 16 of the Knoxville City Code to prohibit personal delivery devices, henceforth referred to as PDDs, on city streets, sidewalks, and right-of-ways, is a necessary step towards ensuring the harmonious coexistence of emerging technologies with our urban landscape. First, let us acknowledge the undeniable convenience that PDDs bring to modern living. They offer a novel and efficient means of delivering goods and services to our doorsteps, streamlining everyday tasks and reducing reliance on traditional transportation methods. However, with innovation, too comes responsibility, and it is imperative that we regulate the deployment of these devices to maintain the safety and accessibility of our public spaces. One of the key reasons for supporting this ordinance is the need to confine PDDs to areas where pedestrian traffic is predominant, such as University of Tennessee's campus. By limiting their operation to walkable zones, we can mitigate the risk of collisions and ensure that pedestrians, including students, faculty, and residents at our university, can navigate our streets and sidewalks without fear of interference or harm further from our city's automobile goers. Furthermore, this ordinance aligns with our commitment to prioritizing non-motorized modes of transportation and fostering a pedestrian-friendly cityscape. Knoxville prides itself on a vibrant neighborhoods and bustling downtown where foot traffic fuels economic activity and community engagement. Allowing PDDs free rein on our streets would not only jeopardize the safety of pedestrians, but also undermine our efforts to create inclusive and accessible public spaces. However, I must emphasize my reluctance to cede more of our precious right-of-ways to car traffic, even though this is a boon to pedestrians overall. As a city, we haven't done enough to promote alternative modes of transportation, especially when it comes to expanding bike lanes and enhancing public transit options. I agree that allowing PDDs to roam freely alongside pedestrians would only exacerbate congestion and diminish quality of life for our residents, as pedestrians would not only have to look out for vehicle traffic on crosswalks, but also watch their step to avoid these PDDs while already attempting to crosswalk on limited space. I do not support this ordinance because I support the prioritization of automobile traffic. Quite the opposite. I support this ordinance as a way to ensure that pedestrians don't have yet one more thing to worry about. In conclusion, I urge you to support the proposed ordinance to prohibit personal delivery devices, PDDs, on city streets, sidewalks, and right-of-ways. By doing so, we reaffirm our commitment to safeguarding the well-being of our citizens, preserving the vitality of our pedestrian-centric neighborhoods, and advancing our vision of a sustainable and livable Knoxville. Thank you for your time, attention, and consideration. May God bless you all. Ceasefire now.
Ceasefire now! Next speaker is in favor of item 9A, Eileen Zhang. Oh, I'm sorry, opposed. Opposed. This is the final person who speaks up to item 9A, signed up for item 9A. Ms. Zhang, you may state your name and address for the record, and you have up to 5 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council members. Thank you for allowing me the time to speak here today. My name is Eileen Zong, and I am the U.S. Director of Government Affairs for Starship. I'm here in opposition of this ordinance that bans personal delivery devices, or PDDs, from operations in the city. Instead, we ask the council to reconsider and return this ordinance to staff so that we can collaborate and find a path forward that would create a process to allow for safe and responsible operations. I emailed our formal letters of opposition to everyone here yesterday, along with an infographic. For some context, Starship has been in operation since 2002 and has completed over 108,000 deliveries. And we actually celebrated the 100,000 delivery mark on campus last month. That was a pretty successful celebration. We have a great relationship with the university as well as Grubhub, who are also hopeful for a different path forward because of the continued student growth on campus and their desire to service the student population. At UTK, we receive approximately 300 orders every day. This will continue to grow with the projected rise in the student count for next year. The service helps alleviate the demands faced at the dining halls and reducing longer lines and wait times. The service is convenient for students and staff, but not only that, it's more environmentally friendly and safer than traditional methods of delivery. PDDs are all electric and equipped with features such as ultrasonic sensors, cameras, and a neural network that helps them detect and avoid obstacles. We map out every area before we begin operations, and they are geofenced and confined to that operational area. So we make sure that where we operate, the sidewalks are wide enough for operations and that they can traverse safely. And if that's not the case, we flag that to the city and the university that certain areas are not operable and work with the city to help alleviate those specific issues. Additionally, I wanted to flag that they always return to their parking space after deliveries are made and return home to charge at night. The PDDs offer a safe and more environmentally friendly approach, as PDDs are not subject to the same risks as traditional deliveries, such as distracted driving, and PDD operations also align with the City of Knoxville's Vision Zero Action Plan goals of creating safer community for pedestrians. We want to work with the city to create a path forward that aligns with the city's vision and goals. We urge the council to vote no on this ordinance and instead seek an alternative path to allow PDDs to operate safely through some form of approval. In over 50 cities and universities we operate in the U.S., we have a handful that have some kind of approval or permitting process that I'm happy to share with staff. For example, in the city of Chicago, we operate around a university and it goes through a permitting procedure where we get the operational area approved and we also pay for a permit for operations. If this ordinance passes, we will not be able to expand to access campus or students living off campus, which I was told is going to be about 2,200 beds that we will not be able to access because it is across the city right-of-way. With that, again, I urge your no vote on this ordinance so that we can work together and find a solution that works for the city and its businesses. I wanted to thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you. Council members, that concludes the people who have signed up to speak on item 9A. Any questions or comments from council? Vice Mayor Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Maybe Ms. Jong, can you come back for one quick question? Thank you for sending your letter. I read it. I don't think I'll be supporting what you're asking, but I did want to ask you, it seems like the majority of your business is on college campuses.
Yes.
And so I didn't see a lot of activity outside of campus areas.
I'm sorry, you said you see a lot of activity outside.
Oh, in other cities, I only see it on college campuses. I think what you're asking for is to consider outside of college campus.
So we are opposed to an outright ban from
Right.
the city, but what we are supportive of is more of a middle approach where the city can approve certain areas for operation. So we do operate outside of universities. We want to be able to access the dorms that are across the street from Cumberland, for example, where dorms are not accessible currently because it's on the city right-of-way. So the only way we can cross it now is through a pedestrian bridge that we have been in agreement with the city for operations now,
Thank you for that clarification.
of course.
Council Member Parker, your light's on?
Sure. When this came before us previously, we didn't have an extensive discussion about it, and I was wondering what are some of the barriers that the city sees to allowing this, or allowing their operations to expand? What are the
I think the main concern is safety. Safety is always the main concern, and the fact that people might fall or trip or not have ability to pass by if they're in a wheelchair or other mobility device. That's the main concern.
That seems a bit broad since they're already in operation, and the area that they are talking about moving into, they're able to access right now with a pedestrian bridge with pedestrians on it. I've seen them on that other side of Cumberland Avenue before, It seems a bit arbitrary.
This wouldn't shrink their ability to operate where they're already operating. They can continue to operate there, and over time, if safety patterns look good. But I mean, the university population in and around the university is a little different from other parts of the city as far as mobility issues.
Sure, and what I'm hearing them ask for is simply consideration that they can expand their operations around the university campus, not into downtown Knoxville, not into our neighborhoods. That seems like a really reasonable conversation to have. Was that a conversation that the city even considered having with the vendor?
Yes, there were conversations, and, this doesn't close the door forever. It just means that the city, we think that there needs to be more time to ensure safety issues are considered. Expanding this form of delivery is not the highest priority and didn't seem to be connected to opportunities and convenience or any of the other things that were among our highest priorities. So safety is the first consideration. If in the future the entities like this that want to do that, want to show that they, they can come back at any time, but this is what we're thinking is the best path forward for the time being for 2024.
Under this current strategy, City Council would have to pass an ordinance to allow operations in the future. That seems like a different path forward than simply expanding a moratorium until more conversations can be had. When I first reviewed this at our last meeting, I imagined this technology coming into downtown Knoxville, and I immediately thought, no. The sidewalks aren't big enough. This is going to impede the mobility of others, pedestrians, people with disabilities. But then I was able to talk to the company and have a better understanding of what their considerations were. And it fits in with the other concerns that we have around the university campus. We have a growing campus community, regardless of what we have to say about it. They continue to grow the student population. Student housing continues to grow around the area. As a city, as a campus community, we have to think about congestion and how to address the congestion that might be anticipated with a growing campus in that area. So after speaking with the company and hearing their concerns and about an all-out ban, it seemed reasonable to me. It seemed like a more reasonable step forward would be to extend the moratorium, which I guess has expired at this point, to allow more time for discussions to see, as UT moves forward with plans to expand, does it make sense for this service, which really is integrated with UT Dining, to be able to use this service as a part of UT Dining in other areas around the campus.
Cheryl Ball has been our lead on discussions with this private company on this issue. So, Ms. Ball, can you explain a little bit more about what this will do and what it won't do and why we think this is the best step forward for now?
Sure. Our team met with the local staff specifically, in particular with UT Dining as well as Starship local staff. And at this juncture, they don't have any immediate plans for expansion that they can't reach by staying on University of Tennessee property versus city right-of-way. And so that was related to this particular situation that is current on UT campus. And because they're operating on campus property, and campus UT right-of-way, the city does not have any direct jurisdiction to keep them from doing that. So they'll be able to continue to do that. We were starting to get requests for downtown Knoxville. We were starting to get requests to expand from other companies this type of delivery service into other areas, and that's what prompted us to come to you to put a 6-month moratorium on this particular type of device on our city right-of-way so that we could do more research on how other cities are handling this, not just on campuses, but in other parts of their city. So our decision based on that information is that at this juncture, it really is best for us to put this in place so that we don't, our choices are providing a permitting process, which becomes very challenging, and we're definitely not prepared at this immediate juncture to do that. But other cities have put this in place. They've also retracted it several months after implementing it. And so at this juncture, we do not feel like this is the best option for our city.
Councilmember Fugit.
I've had it off and on, off and on. I'm going to support this agenda item because in the absence of a ban, any other company could come in here and do it with or without the city's permission. If somebody else wants to do this, coming back before council and creating an ordinance that is enforceable about how these things are done, I think is the correct action. We've been down this road before with other opportunities that just land in Knoxville. So I support a ban until we decide it's good, if and when we decide we want them.
Councilmember Ryder.
I turned it off. Ms. Ball, if this company or any other company sat down with you and delineated areas that were mutually agreeable, we could modify and include other areas as needed or as reasonable. Is that correct? I said with a modification to the ordinance, we could, if review and if mutually agreeable, there are points in the future where we could modify and expand if there are a demand and reasonable sidewalk access to do that, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. Ms. Song, this is a request to do commercial delivery on public sidewalks, and having been in a situation with a friend who was a cancer patient limited to a wheelchair and having other commercial activity like this on sidewalks, it made it very difficult without regulation and allowing these types of things on sidewalks. We really just never fund enough and never do enough for our people with mobility issues who really need sidewalks. And I'm sorry, that's my priority and why I support this. And when we were limiting and doing moratoriums for mobility devices for the scooter type things, that was also a big concern because I watched my friend not be able to make forward progress because of all these new technologies. And I don't mean to sound like an old fogey, but we have people in wheelchairs and with mobility issues that need to get down our sidewalks, and they need to be our number one versus a commercial access to food. So until the staff finds a good reason to support a policy change that will accommodate and still include those people with mobility issues as our number one concern, then I'm going to support this ordinance change that we have before us.
Mayor, do you mind if I respond? Or?
No one's asked you anything. You're not allowed to have the floor. Any other questions or comments from council? Ms.
Yes.
Parker?
Thank you. Please respond.
I just wanted to thank you for your comments, council member. I wanted to also highlight that Starship has accessibility as one of its top priorities. We do not operate in areas where accessibility would be an issue. We flagged that for the city as somewhere that we would like to cooperate and work together to ensure that sidewalks and crosswalks are made accessible to everyone in the community. We actually have accessibility panels. We work with guide dogs to ensure that these services are made for everyone, and we have a lot of users who have accessibility issues as well, where this service actually helps and saves them from being able to get food access to wherever they need food from, instead of having to drive or other forms of modes of transportation to get their food. I just wanted to share that as well.
Okay,
Thank
any
you.
other questions or comments from council?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryder.
Sure. I appreciate that, and I would encourage you to work with the staff. I have full confidence that Ms. Ball and and her staff are able to work with you if there are areas where you can't serve and, execute your commercial needs without having access to the public sidewalks that are part of the city of Knoxville. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item.
11A is a resolution authorizing the mayor to amend the contract with Canon and Canon Incorporated to provide third-party engineering plans review services on an as-needed basis, increasing the amount by $58,100 for a new total amount not to exceed $193,000.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Council members, several people have signed up to speak in favor of item 11A, more than your rules allow, so I'll call the first three and then move on. Nicholas Gass is first. Please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 5 minutes to address council on item 11A.
Hello, my name is Nick. I live somewhere in Knoxville. I already forgot. Some dorm. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the council, esteemed colleagues, I stand before you today to advocate for the passage of a resolution that authorizes the mayor to amend the contract with Canon and Canon Incorporated to provide third-party engineering plans and review services on an as-needed basis. This amendment seeks to increase the amount by $58,100, bringing the total amount to $193,000. And while this may seem like a significant increase, it's imperative that we recognize the crucial role that these services play in ensuring the safety and integrity of our city's infrastructure, particularly in the face of inclement weather and other threats. As stewards of this city, it is our foremost responsibility to prioritize the safety and well-being of our residents. Our streets serve as lifelines, connecting neighborhoods, businesses, and essential services. In times of inclement weather, such as heavy rainfall or snowfall, the condition of our streets can have a direct impact on public safety, emergency response times, and the overall resilience of our community. By authorizing the mayor to amend the contract with Canon and Canon Incorporated to provide third-party engineering plans and review services, we are taking proactive steps to ensure that our streets remain safe and accessible even in the face of unforeseen challenges. These services play a critical role in assessing the structural integrity of our infrastructure, identifying potential hazards, and recommending necessary improvements to mitigate risk. Moreover, the increased funding allocated to these services will enable our city to respond more effectively to emerging threats and challenges. In today's rapidly changing climate, we must remain vigilant and adaptive in our approach to infrastructure management. By investing in third-party engineering plans and review services, we can leverage the expertise and resources of external partners to enhance the resilience of our city's infrastructure and better protect our residents from harm. Furthermore, the decision to increase funding for these services reflects our commitment to transparency and accountability in government. By proactively seeking external expertise, we are demonstrating our willingness to invest in the best interest of our community and ensure that taxpayer dollars are allocated responsibly and effectively. In addition to safeguarding against inclement weather, third-party engineering plans review services also play a crucial role in protecting our city from other potential threats, such as natural disasters, industrial accidents, and infrastructure failures. By conducting thorough assessments and implementing necessary improvements, we can mitigate risks and enhance the overall safety and resilience of our community. It is essential to recognize that the cost of inaction far outweighs the investment needed to ensure the safety and integrity of our infrastructure. By authorizing the mayor to amend the contract with Cannon & Cannon Incorporated, we are taking proactive steps to protect our city and its residents from harm, both now and in the future. In conclusion, I urge each member of this council to vote in favor of the resolution authorizing the mayor to amend the contract with Cannon & Cannon Incorporated to provide third-party engineering plans review services. Let us prioritize the safety and well-being of our residents above all else and take proactive steps to safeguard our city against threats both known and unforeseen. Together, we can ensure that Knoxville remains a safe, resilient, and vibrant community for generations to come. Thank you. Ceasefire now.
Ceasefire now. Next person signed up to speak in favor of this item is Fatima El Hassan. Please come to the podium. You have up to 5 minutes to address council on item 11A.
It's Fatima, like Ultima, but without the
Fatima.
L.
Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of the council, today I stand before you in unwavering support of a resolution authorizing the mayor to amend the contract with Cannon & Cannon Incorporated to provide third-party engineering plans, review services on an as-needed basis, increasing the amount by $58,100, my bad, for a new total amount not to exceed $193,000. This measure is not merely a fiscal allocation. It is a commitment to ensuring the safety and security of our community, particularly during times of adversity. First and foremost, let us consider the paramount importance of safeguarding our city streets, especially during inclement weather. As responsible stewards of our municipality, it is incumbent upon us to take proactive measures to mitigate the potential hazards that may arise due to adverse weather conditions. By investing in third-party engineering plans, review services, we are fortifying our infrastructure against the unpredictable forces of nature, thereby safeguarding the lives and well-beings of our citizens. Furthermore, the imperative to ensure the safety of Knoxville roadways cannot be overstated. Our streets are the arteries through which commerce, transportation, and daily life flow. They are the lifelines of our community, connecting us to our workplaces, schools, and homes. It is essential, therefore, that we spare no effort in upholding the integrity and functionality of our road network, particularly in light of the challenges posed by inclement weather. Moreover, let us not forget that the prudent allocation of resources today can yield manifold dividends tomorrow. By investing in third-party engineering plans, By investing in third-party engineering plans, review services, we are not merely addressing immediate concerns, we are laying the foundation for a safer, more resilient future. The cost of neglecting our infrastructure far outweighs the initial investment required to bolster its resilience. Therefore, let us seize this opportunity to fortify our city streets against the ravages of time and weather. In addition, it is imperative that we acknowledge the expertise and professionalism of Cannon & Cannon Incorporated as a trusted member in our city's development. They have consistently demonstrated their commitment to excellence and their ability to deliver results. By entrusting them with the task of providing third-party engineering plans, review services, we are leveraging their unparalleled expertise to ensure the highest standards of quality and safety for our community. Furthermore, the proposed increase in funding is not an arbitrary figure, but a calculated investment in the long-term well-being of our city. In light of evolving environmental conditions and the increasing frequency of extreme weather events, it is imperative that we equip ourselves with the necessary resources to adapt and respond effectively. The additional funds allocated towards third-party engineering plans review services will enable us to enhance our preparedness and resilience in the face of emerging challenges. Moreover, let us not underestimate the ripple effects of our actions on the broader fabric of society. By prioritizing the safety of our city streets, we are not only fulfilling our duty to our constituents, but also setting a precedent for responsible governance and proactive leadership. In conclusion, I urge each and every one of you to lend your support to a resolution authorizing the mayor to amend the contract with Canon Incorporated. By doing so, we are not merely approving a budgetary allocation, we are reaffirming our commitment to the safety, security, and prosperity of our beloved city. Let us stand together in solidarity and resolve to ensure that Knoxville remains a beacon of safety and resilience for generations to come. Thank you very much. Cease fire now.
Next and final person on this item is Madison Funk. Ms. Funk, please state your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 5 minutes to address council on this particular agenda item.
Yeah, Madison Funk, District 1. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of the City Council, today I stand before you to advocate for the passage of the resolution authorizing the mayor to amend the contract with Canon and Canon, Inc., to provide third-party engineering plans review services on as-needed basis with an increase of $58,100 for a new total amount not to exceed $193,000. This resolution, requested by our engineering department, is not merely a matter of administrative procedure. It is a critical step forward towards ensuring the safety and resilience of our city's infrastructure, particularly in the face of inclement weather and other threats. As at the forefront of our consideration for at the forefront of our considerations is the imperative need to protect our streets and infrastructure from the ravages of nature and unforeseen events. As we had witnessed time and time again, severe weather events such as heavy rainfall, flooding, and storms can wreak havoc on our roads, bridges, and drainage systems, posing significant risk to public safety and impeding the flow of commerce and daily life. By engaging the services of Canon and Canon, Inc. for third-party engineering plan reviews, we can access the expertise and resources needed to bolster the resilience of our infrastructure and ensure that it is incapable of withstanding the challenges posed by Mother Nature. Furthermore, the increase in funding for third-party engineering plans review services is a wise and prudent investment in the long-term sustainability of our city's infrastructure. Prevention is always preferable to remediation, and by proactively reviewing engineering plans and designs, we can identify potential vulnerabilities and address them before they escalate into costly and disruptive issues. The expertise and independent perspective provided by Canon and Canon, Inc. will enhance our ability to anticipate and mitigate risks, ultimately saving taxpayer dollars and safeguarding the integrity of our infrastructure assets. Moreover, the additional funding for third-party engineering plans review services is a testament to our commitment to excellence and accountability in the management of public resources. As stewards of the public trust, it is incumbent upon us to ensure that every dollar is spent allocated wisely and efficiently. By investing in rigorous engineering review processes, we can instill confidence in the quality and reliability of our infrastructure projects, fostering public trust and enhancing our reputation as well as well-governed and responsible municipality. Additionally, the resolution aligns with our broader goals of promoting economic growth and prosperity within our city. A strong and resilient infrastructure is essential for attracting investment, supporting business expansion, and facilitating the movement of goods and services. By prioritizing the safety and reliability of our streets and infrastructure, we create a more conducive environment for business development, job creation, laying the foundation for long-term economic success and prosperity. Furthermore, the increase in funding for third-party engineering plans, review services, reflects our commitment to innovation and best practices in the field of infrastructure management. The expertise and technical knowledge provided by Canon and Canon Inc. will enable us to leverage the latest advancements in engineering and design to optimize the performance and longevity of our infrastructure assets. By staying at the forefront of industry standards and practices, we can ensure that our city remains resilient and adaptable in the face of evolving challenges and opportunities. In conclusion, I urge each member of this council to support the resolution authorizing the mayor to amend the contract with Canon and Canon Inc. for third-party engineering review services. By investing in the safety and resilience of our streets and infrastructure, we not only protect the well-being of our residents and businesses, but also lay the groundwork for a prosperous and sustainable future. Let us seize the opportunity to strengthen our city's infrastructure and enhance its resilience in the face of whatever challenges it lies ahead. Ceasefire now.
Council members, that concludes public forum on this agenda item. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
11B is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Rogers Group Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $3,633,803.50 for the 2024 resurfacing Phase 2 project.
Motion made to approve and seconded. There are 3 people signed up to speak in favor of item 11B. First is Nicholas Gass.
Do I gotta say where I live again, or are we already like past that?
You have 5 minutes.
All right, cool. What's my phone password? Oh, yeah, all right. Esteemed members of the council, today I come before you to advocate for the passage of a resolution that authorizes the mayor to execute an agreement with Rogers Group Incorporated. This agreement in the amount not to exceed $3,633,803.50, no idea why we needed the 50 cents there, is crucial for the implementation of the 2024 resurfacing Phase 2 project. As representatives of the people of Knoxville, it is our responsibility to ensure the safety and well-being of our residents. And one critical aspect of this is maintaining our city's infrastructure, particularly our roads. It is no secret that Knoxville, like many cities across the country, is in desperate need of road repaving and maintenance. Our city streets bear the weight of constant traffic, harsh weather conditions, and the passage of time, leading to wear and tear that can significantly impact safety and convenience for all who use them. Potholes, cracks, and uneven surfaces not only make for a bumpy ride, but also pose hazards to drivers, cyclists, and pedestrians alike. By authorizing the mayor to execute this agreement with Rogers Group Incorporated, we are taking a vital step towards addressing the pressing issue of road maintenance in our city. The 2024 resurfacing Phase 2 project will allow us to repair and resurface key thoroughfares, ensuring smoother, safer travels for all Knoxville residents and visitors. Investing in infrastructure maintenance is not just a matter of convenience, it is a matter of public safety and economic vitality. A well-maintained road network is essential for fostering economic growth and prosperity in our city. Businesses rely on reliable transportation routes to deliver goods, commuters depend on efficient roadways to get to work, and tourists seek out destinations with well-maintained infrastructure. By investing in road repaving and maintenance, we are laying the foundation for a thriving, resilient community that can attract investment, create jobs, and support local businesses. Furthermore, neglecting road maintenance can have serious long-term consequences, both in terms of safety and financial cost. Delaying repairs only allows existing problems to worsen, leading to more extensive damage and higher repair costs down the line. By addressing road maintenance needs proactively, we can save taxpayer dollars in the long run and ensure that our limited resources are used efficiently and effectively. Moreover, investing in road repaving and maintenance demonstrates our commitment to equity and accessibility. Well-maintained roads benefit all members of our community, regardless of income, age, or ability. They make it easier for residents to access essential services such as healthcare, education, and employment opportunities, and contribute to overall increased quality of life for everyone. In addition to the immediate benefits of improved safety and convenience, road repaving and maintenance also has positive environmental impacts. Smooth, well-maintained roads reduce fuel consumption and emissions by allowing vehicles to operate more efficiently. By investing in sustainable transportation infrastructure, we can help mitigate the effects of climate change and create a healthier, more livable city for future generations. It is essential to recognize that road maintenance is not a one-time expense, but an ongoing commitment. By authorizing this agreement with Rogers Group Incorporated, we are demonstrating our dedication to long-term infrastructure planning and investment. This project is just one piece of a larger puzzle, and it is crucial that we continue to prioritize road maintenance in our budgeting and planning processes moving forwards. In conclusion, I urge each member of this council to vote in favor of the resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Rogers Group Incorporated for the 2024 resurfacing Phase 2 project. Let us seize this opportunity to invest in the safety, prosperity, and sustainability of our city by addressing our urgent road maintenance needs. Together, we can ensure that Knoxville remains a vibrant and resilient community for generations to come. Thank you. Ceasefire now.
Next person who's signed up to speak to item 11B is Fatima El Hassan. Fatima El Hassan.
What was the item number again? Was it?
That's you. It's on you to remember. If you don't remember, come on. What
the heck?
You're out of order. If you don't know what you want to speak on, then you're out of order. Please take a seat.
Oh my God.
Next person is Madison
speaking.
Funk.
I'm still speaking. My timer is still
you're-
going. I'm
no.
going to say my speech, okay? I'm going to say my speech. Okay. Yeah. I'm just.
Okay, council members, I called her out of order. I'd like to call the next speaker. Please sit down. Okay.
Mayor, I object.
Ms. Parker?
I object. I don't
Okay,
understand.
if you wish to
Could you
make a
help me
motion
understand?
if you wish to make a motion to overrule my decision, you can make a motion. Do you wish to make a motion?
Sure.
Okay. I think Councilmember Parker, I don't want to put words on your mouth. What's your motion?
I object.
Okay. I think
I
your
move
motion-
to overturn your ruling.
Okay, is there a second to Ms. Parker's motion? Okay, motion fails for lack of an objection, lack of a second. Council members, I would like to let you know that we are not going to let people disrupt our public meeting. If you are out of order, you'll be asked to leave. Okay, woman right there who's speaking, you are out of order. If I'm warning you now, if you don't stay quiet and if you continue to disrupt the meeting, you'll be asked to leave. If you refuse to leave on your own, you'll be arrested. Do you understand?
Wow.
Do you understand?
Wow.
I'm talking to you.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. The next person who signed up to speak is Madison Funk. Madison Funk, you may come to the podium and address council. I made my ruling. Ma'am, you are out of order. I've already warned you. I'm asking you to leave. I'm asking you to leave. You're disrupting the meeting. We're trying to do the people's business. Please leave. I'm asking you to leave. You're disrupting the meeting. You may be arrested or leave on your own. Okay, Madison Funk, do you wish to speak?
This is.
Mayor Madison Funk, if you're not wishing to speak, then we'll move on. Council member?
And this
Okay.
is creating more of a disruption than them speaking.
Council Madison Funk, you have up to 5 minutes to address council.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Go ahead,
Thank you.
start the timer.
It's ridiculous.
Your time's counting down already. Go ahead.
Okay, well, it got turned off, so I would like to ask for my minute back.
You have 4 minutes and 43 seconds. Use it however you wish.
All right, then I will. Thank you. First of all, we should let Fatima speak. Is it okay? Can I actually, resign my time on the floor to
No.
Fatima?
No.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Fatima. I tried. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of the City Council, today I stand before you to advocate for the passage of this resolution, which authorizes the mayor to execute an agreement with Rogers Group, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $3,633,803 for 50 cents. For the amount, for the 2024 resurfacing Phase 2 project. This resolution requested by our engineering department is not merely a matter of routine infrastructure maintenance, but it is a critical step towards ensuring the safety and well-being of our residents and visitors who rely on our roads every day. At the forefront of our considerations is the pressing need to address the deteriorating conditions of our city roads. As we are all too aware, Knoxville's roads have fallen into extreme disrepair. I know, because I DoorDash all day. My car has gotten so much damage because of how bad our roads are. With potholes, cracks, and uneven surfaces posing significant hazards to drivers, cyclists, and pedestrians alike. The consequences of neglecting our infrastructure are dire, ranging from costly vehicle repairs to tragic accidents, resulting in injury or loss of life. By investing in the 2024 resurfacing Phase 2 project, we can take decisive action to address these hazards and improve our safety of our transportation network. Furthermore, the need for road resurfacing extends beyond just ensuring the safety of our drivers and cyclists. It also has significant implications for the economic vitality of our city. Smooth, well-maintained roads are essential for facilitating movement of goods and people, supporting commerce and attracting investment. Businesses rely on our roads to transport goods to market, employees to work, and customers to their doors. By investing in road resurfacing, we are investing in the economic prosperity and competitiveness of our city, creating an environment where businesses can thrive and grow. Moreover, the 2024 resurfacing Phase 2 project represents a wise and prudent use of taxpayer dollars. While some may view infrastructure projects as costly expenses, they are in fact essential investments in our community's future. By proactively addressing road maintenance needs now, we can avoid more extensive and expensive repairs in the future. The cost of inaction far outweighs the upfront investment required for resurfacing projects, both in terms of financial expenses and human costs. Additionally, the resolution aligns with our broader goals of promoting sustainability and resilience within our city. Well-maintained roads are not only safer for drivers and cyclists, but also more environmentally friendly. Smooth surfaces reduce fuel consumption, minimize vehicle emissions, and prolong the lifespan of vehicles, ultimately contributing to our efforts to combat climate change and reduce our carbon footprint. By investing in road resurfacing, we are investing in a more sustainable Knoxville. In conclusion, I urge y'all to pass this resolution. By investing in safety and maintenance of our roads, we are investing in the safety and prosperity and future of our city. Let us come together to prioritize the needs of our residents and ensure Knoxville remains a safe and vibrant, resilient community for generations to come. Ceasefire now.
Council members, that concludes the people who signed up to speak on 11B. Any questions or comments from council? Ms. Parker?
Thank you, Mayor. I support this agenda item. But I don't support stifling the public's voice and making a game out of it every meeting. I've been in this room under previous administrations protesting, and I just didn't see them jump for that gavel as quickly as our current mayor. It really disturbs me. Also, it frustrates me as a council person because I know, as a community organizer, that the only response is to double down. When your rights are being threatened, when you don't feel like you have free speech, what you do is you find more people to come show up with you to test the law, to test it, and to keep testing it. And who's going to sit here through all of that? We are, because our mayor wants to play games with our public forum speakers. I don't appreciate
People in the
it.
audience, don't disrupt the meeting.
I don't appreciate it. I don't think it's good governance. And if I wasn't sitting here with y'all, I'd be out there in the audience with them. Because the right to free speech, our First Amendment right, a reason why it's the first, is so important that when it's tested on anyone, I don't care what the issue is, the public has to show up to push back. It's so important. So I know y'all are frustrated, and you don't want to sit through a protest. You don't want to have to acknowledge that people are trying to carry out a protest. But it's their right, and they're doing it within our rules. So let's allow them to speak within our rules. Let's not be, trying to find little nitpicky ways for young people who I'm so proud of, going into the end of a semester and writing 5-minute speeches. Oh my goodness, wow. So proud of them. And we're trying to deter them from coming to this public forum to carry out a protest in a manner that is not in any way interrupting our meeting. I hope that we will allow them to speak. It's going to be a long meeting, but allow them to speak within the rules so that we don't continue to see this frustration aimed at us rather than something else that would be a better use of their time. Because I don't know if you're going to sway these folks, honestly. But I respect your protest, and I believe that you have the right to do it. And I hope that we can allow them to speak during public forum and stop playing games.
Vice Mayor Smith.
I'll call the question.
Excuse me?
Move to call the question.
Okay, motion's been made to call the question. Is there a second? It also doesn't seem like there's any more further debate. Okay, there's a motion made and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion to call the question carries unanimously. Back to the original motion on the floor. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item.
11C is a resolution authorizing the mayor to apply for and, if awarded, accept a Safe Streets and Roads for All grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation in an amount of up to $55 million with a local match of up to $11 million to assist the city with its Vision Zero goal to eliminate traffic deaths and serious injuries on city streets.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Council members, 3 people have signed up to speak in favor of this. First is Nicholas Gass. You have up to 5 minutes to address council on item 11C. You need to turn your microphone on. Just press the button up there. Yeah, you got it.
That thing. Oh, that's awesome, How do I get one of these? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of the council, today I stand before you to advocate for the passing of Resolution 11C, a critical step towards enhancing the safety of our city streets and protecting the lives of our fellow citizens. This resolution seeks to authorize the mayor to apply for and accept a substantial grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation aimed at bolstering our Vision Zero initiative to eliminate traffic-related fatalities and serious injuries. First and foremost, let us recognize the urgency of this matter. Every day, pedestrians across our city, just like myself, embark on journeys, whether it be to work, school, or simply to enjoy our community. Yet, tragically, many of these journeys are cut short due to preventable traffic accidents. Resolution 11C presents us with an opportunity to address this pressing issue head-on and make meaningful strides towards a safer, more secure environment for all. At the heart of this resolution lies the allocation of resources to support our Vision Zero goal. By securing funding of up to $55 million with a local match of $11 million, we demonstrate our unwavering commitment to prioritizing pedestrian safety and investing in infrastructure improvements that can save lives. This grant will enable us to implement innovative solutions such as enhanced crosswalks, traffic calming measures, and improved signage, all geared towards reducing the risk of accidents and fostering a culture of responsible road use. Moreover, it is imperative that we recognize the broader societal benefits of prioritizing pedestrian safety. Beyond the immediate goal of preventing injuries and fatalities, investing in safer streets yields significant economic advantages. By reducing the burden of healthcare costs associated with traffic-related injuries, enhancing mobility for all our citizens, and fostering vibrant, walkable communities, we lay the groundwork for sustainable growth and prosperity. Furthermore, Resolution 11C aligns seamlessly with our city's overarching commitment to sustainability and environmental stewardship. By encouraging alternative modes of transportation, such as walking and cycling, we not only reduce greenhouse gas emissions and alleviate congestion, but also promote healthier, more active lifestyles among our residents. One moment. Sorry, yo. Where was I? This holistic approach to urban planning underscores the interconnectedness of public health, environmental sustainability, and community well-being. Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
Okay, the next speaker is Fatima El Hassan.
Fatima El Hassan, 37923. Esteemed council members, distinguished guests, I come before you today with a matter of paramount importance: the safety of our city's streets and the well-being of all who traverse them. I stand firmly in support of a resolution authorizing the mayor to apply for, and if awarded, accept a Safe Streets and Roads for All grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation. This grant, in the amount of up to $55 million, with a local match of up to $11 million, will be instrumental in advancing Knoxville's Vision Zero goal to eliminate traffic deaths and serious injuries on our city streets. First and foremost, let us acknowledge the critical need to prioritize the safety of pedestrians and cyclists on our roadways. Too often, these vulnerable road users bear the brunt of traffic-related accidents, suffering injuries and fatalities that are entirely preventable. As stewards of our community, it is our moral imperative to ensure that all residents, regardless of their mode of transportation, can navigate our streets safely and without fear. Furthermore, the Vision Zero initiative represents a bold and necessary commitment to the fundamental principle that no loss of life or injury is acceptable on our roadways. By pursuing this ambitious goal, we are not merely aiming to reduce traffic accidents, we're striving to create a culture of safety, respect, and equity that permeates every aspect of our transportation system. The Safe Streets and Roads for All grant will provide us with the resources and support needed to turn this vision into reality. Moreover, let us recognize that investing in pedestrian and cyclist safety yields far-reaching benefits for our community as a whole. When individuals feel confident and secure in walking or cycling to their destination, we see a reduction in traffic congestion, air pollution, and greenhouse gas emissions. Additionally, active transportation modes promote public health and well-being, contributing to a more vibrant, sustainable, and equitable city for all residents. Additionally, I wish to emphasize the importance of local leadership and commitments to achieving the goals set forth by Vision Zero. While federal grants such as the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant provide critical funding, it is ultimately up to us as city leaders to champion the cause of pedestrian cyclist safety and to implement effective policies and infrastructure improvements that support this goal. By applying for and accepting this grant, we are reaffirming our steadfast dedication to the safety and well-being of all who call Knoxville home. And I would like to further bolster my point by adding a personal anecdote. I really think that this item number is really important because as I was driving here today to school, I'm a student and a Knoxville native. I was thinking about how important this item number would be, and I had just finished preparing all of these speeches that I had spoken about, and it's finals week, and this would just be so good to avoid traffic deaths and congestion, And then as I drive home today and think about this meeting, and hopefully this item number is passed, I will remember it and remember the infringement on my democracy as an American and the punishment that I endured because I decided to prepare multiple speeches, and then instead of reminding me what the item number was, you punished me for being an active member of my city council, of an active member of my community, and because you don't agree with my views, because you support genocide.
Mayor, point of order.
Vice Mayor?
This item is, the speaker is not being germane to the
Okay,
item.
I'll draw it back to the point.
Thank you.
I got you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm driving home, right, for this item number that's about traffic safety, right? I'm driving home thinking about this day. Hopefully this item number gets passed, and hopefully I will get home safely thinking about how my rights today were infringed by you, Mayor India Kincannon, as an American, and you punished me for being an active member of my community. Thank you very much.
Okay, next speaker is Madison Funk. You have up to 5 minutes to address council on this agenda item.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of the City Council, today I come before you to champion Resolution 11C, a pivotal step towards enhancing the safety of our city streets and protecting the lives of our residents and visitors. This resolution authorizes the mayor to apply for and, if awarded, accept a Safe Streets and Roads for All grants from the United States Department of Transportation with the potential to receive up to $55 million with a local match of up to $11 million. This funding will play a crucial role in advancing our Vision Zero goal to eliminate traffic deaths and serious injuries on Knoxville streets. At the heart of our mission is the imperative need to prioritize the safety of pedestrian traffic. Knoxville, like many cities across the nation, has witnessed far too many tragic accidents, resulting in serious injuries and fatalities on our roads. Every life lost or impacted by a traffic incident represents a profound loss to our community. By securing this grant and investing in the Vision Zero initiative, we reaffirm our commitment to protecting the well-being and livelihoods of all who traverse our city streets. Furthermore, the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant represents a unique opportunity to implement innovative solutions and best practices in traffic safety. With the support of this funding, we can implement a comprehensive approach to street design, infrastructure improvements, and traffic management strategies that prioritize the safety of pedestrians, cyclists, and motorists alike. From enhanced crosswalks and signal timing adjustments to traffic calming measures and improved lighting, that we have the opportunity to transform our streets into safe and welcoming spaces for all. Moreover, the Vision Zero initiative is not merely about reducing traffic, fatalities, and injuries. It's about fostering a culture of safety and respect on our streets. By promoting awareness, education, and community engagement, we can empower residents to make safer choices behind the wheel on foot. Vision Zero is not just a goal, it is a shared commitment to creating a future where every journey is safe and every life is valued. Emphasis on the valued. Additionally, the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant, which will have far-reaching benefits beyond just enhancing pedestrian safety. By investing in infrastructure improvements and traffic management strategies, we can alleviate congestion, improve mobility, and enhance the overall quality of life for residents and visitors alike. Safe and efficient transportation networks are essential for supporting economic growth, fostering community connectivity, and ensuring equitable access to opportunities and services. Furthermore, the local match requirement for this grant presents an opportunity for collaboration and partners within our community. By leveraging local resources and expertise, we can maximize the impact of federal funding and ensure that our Vision Zero goals are achieved in a manner that reflects the unique needs and priorities of our city. Together, we can harness the collective power of government, advocacy groups, and businesses and residents to create safer streets for all. In conclusion, I urge each member of this council to support Resolution 11C and authorize the mayor to apply for and accept the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant. By securing this funding and advancing the Vision Zero initiative, we have the opportunity to make Knoxville a national leader in traffic safety and set a shining example for cities across the country. Let us come together to prioritize the safety of pedestrian traffic and create a city where every street is safe, accessible, and welcoming for all. Cease fire now.
All right, council members, that concludes the people who signed up to speak to this item. Are there any questions or discussion? Councilmember Thomas?
Yes, I have a question for Director Clabo. It appears that this funding would be applied to some studies to make Knoxville more pedestrian-friendly citywide, but it also looks like we're past the planning stage, perhaps on Chapman Highway. And could you talk a little bit about what would be implemented with this funding between Blunt Avenue and Front Lane on Chapman Highway?
Sure, I'd be glad to address that. I'm Tom Clable, Engineering Director. So there's two components to the grant application. One of those is an implementation project, which would be Chapman Highway in that corridor. And TDOT did a concept plan of the entire corridor of Chapman Highway. There were 7 different segments they identified, and that was segment 1 in their study. It had the highest crash rate, and so we wanted to focus on that area. So we are working with TDOT now to kind of finalize some costs to see exactly. I'm not sure the limits will be all the way to Fronda, but it will be part of that corridor. But that would be a project that we would design and implement if we got the funding. There's also some supplemental planning studies. We're looking at safe routes to school plan, looking at street lighting with an emphasis towards pedestrian safety, and also looking at safety audits on those streets that we've identified as on the high injury network. So that would be looking for opportunities for smaller projects to make improvements. But so that's the two components of the grant application.
Okay, and looking at the numbers, this looks like the 80%, 20% split between the federal government and the city. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Clabo, you mentioned the safe routes to school. Can you expand upon that a little bit?
What we would do is part of the grant funding, and we're thinking somewhere around $1 million for all of those supplemental planning grants. We would work with the health department, our local partners, to try to strengthen our area and safe routes to schools. And it's really looking at sidewalks and those parental responsibility zones.
Okay, thank you. I had a conversation with a parent along Young High Pike who struggles with that. They're half a mile from the school, and so there's no shoulders on the road that there is to walk. And so we're going to ride the bus together and walk to school next week. But most people don't, if you don't have kids or kids that are in school that you don't take to school, many people don't know that there's that gap. So I'm excited about that component of it, as of course, the Chapman Highway stretch. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
11D is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a piggyback agreement with Rimini Street Incorporated to provide software support services for on-premises Oracle software products in an annual amount not to exceed $230,912 for the next 2 years and $134,312 for the third year as the city transitions its existing on-premise Oracle products to cloud-based software packages.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Council members, there are 3 people who signed up to speak in opposition to this item. The first is Rick Roach. Rick Roach, are you present? Okay. You have up to 5 minutes. Please start by stating your name and address for the record.
Rick Roach, Knoxville. Question, Finance Director, I guess, and potentially Attorney Lawson. There's not much information on this company as to where it's located, other than best I come up with, and I'm, kind of laid back when it comes to doing Google searches. You can find pictures of their board of directors, and also their top officers. What I'd like to know would be where this company is located, what country is it chartered in originally, how many other companies were solicited and asked to bid on these services, and depending on the answers, I'd like to also know how compliant the city of Knoxville is with this state, I guess it's a law, I guess the Assembly passed it a few years ago, about doing business with the state of Israel. And if you don't, you could be precluded from having commercial or business associations, I would imagine, or you could even be penalized. I don't know. I haven't looked at the law. I haven't read it. I just remember it coming down the pike. And if that's pertinent, connected to the potential answers, if you deem it necessary or if you deem it plausible to answer the question, what that's all about. Y'all can deal with that. I'll stay right here because it's still my time, but I'd like to hear something.
We don't answer, if council has questions, we'll answer them during the discussion. Okay.
Well, since I'm not speaking, can you freeze my time?
If you're done speaking, then you may sit down and I'll call the next person.
Well, no, he's getting ready to respond.
Now, we'll answer questions that council has when they arise during their discussion.
But not to me.
Correct.
Okay. This is democracy.
Okay, next person signed up to speak is Fatima El Hassan. Please come to the podium. You have up to 5 minutes.
She can say it. She just chooses not to. Okay. Fatima El Hassan, 37923. We stand at a moral crossroads. Today, as we discuss the financial implications of continuing our relationship with Oracle through third-party support services. It is imperative that we recognize the broader implications of our association with this corporation. Oracle has not only publicly supported actions and policies of the Israeli government, but has also committed to doubling its investments there, including a second data center. These moves come at a time when the international community is increasingly concerned about the humanitarian crisis and allegations of human rights violations in Palestine. Oracle's actions and their vocal support align them and inadvertently us with policies widely criticized around the world. It is crucial to consider the ethical dimensions and the long-term reputational implications for our city, for our democracy, for our morals. This resolution proposes that the City of Knoxville continue utilizing Oracle's software products through Rimini Streets Incorporated, benefiting from the reduced costs and bypassing the need for competitive bidding. While fiscal prudence is important, we must weigh the cost against the ethical stance we take as a city. Knoxville, I know because I'm a native here, has always strived to be a beacon of justice and integrity. Our city has a proud tradition of standing with those who are marginalized and oppressed. How can we, in good conscience, continue to financially support and tie ourselves to a corporation that openly supports actions we as a community might find troubling? And these actions are genocide, by the way, genocide against indigenous people. The global community is watching, Mayor India Kincannon, and our decisions reflect our values. By continuing this contract, what message are we sending to our residents and to the world? Are we prioritizing fiscal savings over human rights, over human lives? Is this the legacy we want to leave? We must consider alternative vendors and transition away from Oracle products, thereby aligning our infrastructure and our civic values. This is not merely a financial decision. It is a profound moral statement about who we are as a community, who you are, council members, as a community. Is this the legacy we want to leave? We must consider alternative vendors. Is there no one else? And transition away from Oracle products, thereby aligning our infrastructure and our civic values. It's not merely a financial decision. Therefore, I urge fellow city council members to vote against this resolution, not accept an agreement made in blood. Let us seek alternatives that keep Knoxville on the right side of history, showing that our city does not just aim for economic efficiency, but also champions the cause of human dignity and justice.
Yeah.
Thank you for considering this crucial perspective. Let us make choices that honor our community's values, our people's values, the city's values, and contribute to a just and ethical world. Free Palestine, ceasefire now.
Okay, next person signed up to speak on this item is Madison Funk. You have up to 5 minutes to address council.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of the City Council, today I rise to strongly oppose Resolution 11D, which authorizes the mayor to execute a piggyback agreement in support with Rimini Street for software support services for our on-premise Oracle software products. While I acknowledge the need for software support during transition to cloud-based solutions, I believe firmly that entering into an agreement with Rimini Street and Oracle is not the best interest of Knoxville. There are several compelling reasons as to why this resolution should be rejected. First and foremost, instead of outsourcing support for support services to large corporations like Rimini Street Inc., which support Israel, Knoxville should consider local support companies in the procurement process. Local companies can provide more accessible and dedicated support, fostering stronger relationships and better understanding of our city's specific needs and requirements. Furthermore, Knoxville boasts a wealth of engineering talent, particularly from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. By investing in training and competitively compensating local hires, we can harness the expertise of our own community to handle bespoke software needs. This approach not only ensures more personalized and responsive support, but also contributes to the growth and prosperity of our local economy. Moreover, Knoxville's decision to transition to a cloud-based solution should be based on a thorough evaluation of various factors, including user interface and experience, speed, flexibility, reliability, longevity, and functionality. Rushing into agreements with vendors like Rimini Street, Inc. without proper consideration of these factors could result in suboptimal outcomes and missed opportunities for improvement. Additionally, Oracle, the parent company of the software products in question, has a history of imposing burdensome contracts on its clients, leading to budget issues, software problems, and delays and legal difficulties. Knoxville deserves a vendor that offers flexible and trustworthy solutions, backed by cutting-edge technology and responsive support services. Moreover, recent statements and actions by Oracle regarding its support for Israel raise serious ethical concerns. Oracle's explicit support for the government and defense of its establishment of Israel, coupled with its plans to double investments in the country and open a second data center, may conflict with the values and principles of our community. By entering into an agreement with Oracle, we risk tactically endorsing and supporting genocide, which may not align with the beliefs and interests of our constituents. In conclusion, I urge each member of this city council to reject this resolution and explore alternative solutions that prioritize local businesses, talent, and ethical considerations. Let us choose a path that upholds the values of our community and ensures the best outcome for Knoxville. Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
Council members, that concludes the people who signed up to speak to this item. Any questions? Vice Mayor Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief Brace, would you like to give an overview of our procurement process and this Nevada-based company?
Yeah, thank you very much, David Brace, the Chief of Staff and the Mayor. So I think just to give you a little history, so the city has had various software systems for a long time, like most entities. That handle things like payroll, our HR functions, our benefits. We actually used an organization called PeopleSoft. PeopleSoft was bought by Oracle. Oracle is an American company. They're large. They're a multinational company that is a big provider of these types of services. They've actually started to handle most of our revenue systems as well. So if you think of accounts payable, grants, our general ledger. So they're big. We're transitioning from our on-site servers to a cloud-based product like a lot of entities. During that transition, we need to continue our support. So this contract actually is with Rimini, which is a fierce competitor of Oracle. It actually saves us 50% on what we were paying to the other provider that was an Oracle company. And so this will get us through that transition. So it's a 3-year contract. We actually piggybacked on my understanding is, and Mark Parker is here, we piggybacked on a KUB procurement. And so our purchasing department, I'm looking over at our CFO, Boyce Evans, there are times that we will piggyback on contracts with other governmental or semi-governmental entities. We review that procurement to make sure that they met all of our requirements and those of the state. And so, again, this saves us 50%. It's a temporary support system with, again, Rimini, which is based out of Las Vegas, is an American-based company. And so it does save us money.
Thank you.
You're out of order. Thank you. Vice Mayor, any further questions? Council members? Ms. Parker.
Thank you. Could anyone share where the servers for this cloud-based service will be located?
Mark Parker, our Chief Technology Officer, could you please come to the podium and share what knowledge you have on that, please?
Sure.
You can raise the podium up if, the whole
Raise.
podium if you want.
I'll just bend over, it's
Okay.
easier. Oracle's cloud-based products are stored in the United States.
Okay, that
Okay.
that just clears that up. So, so we would continue to use Oracle cloud-based, or we would move from our on-site servers to Oracle cloud-based servers. And then what is the role of Remini in this situation?
So the Oracle, basically, the PeopleSoft system that David referred to in the Oracle e-business is a on-premise software product, and they have been around a long time. And so Oracle has basically discontinued those products, and they created a new cloud-based HR, payroll, financial system. And so to move to those, we implement their cloud-based product because they're no longer going to be supporting their on-premise products.
Maybe I missed it, but Oracle is no longer going to be supporting their on-premises products.
They're sunsetting those products so you can no longer stay on them after a certain period of time, several years from now.
Yeah.
They do provide support for those products, but this company provides support at a lesser cost. And in order to get the Oracle support for these products, you have to keep upgrading them and getting on the newest versions, and that's a cost and expense to the city. And since we're going to their cloud-based products, which is their newer technologies, we don't want to undergo those expenses.
Okay, so Remini provides the support for Oracle products?
Yes, for their existing products, yes, ma'am.
Okay, gotcha, thank you. I had an earlier conversation with Director Parker and was able to get some clarification around these technologies, and I do appreciate it because I'm very interested in knowing when we're acquiring new technology, how it'll be used and how data will be stored and protected. So I appreciate you clearing up that information. I do still have a few questions moving to this cloud-based system, so I'm going to abstain on this vote, but I appreciate your answers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 8 in favor, 1 abstention. Next item, please.
11E is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Helen Ross McNabb Center Incorporated to provide funding in the amount of $25,000 for essential services of its Sexual Assault Center of East Tennessee.
Motion made to approve and seconded. There are 2 people signed up to speak in favor of this. First is Fatima El Hassan. You have up to 5 minutes.
Fatima El Hassan, 37923. Esteemed members of the council, distinguished guests, today I come before you to advocate for a resolution that speaks to the heart of our community's values. The resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the Helen Ross McNabb Center Incorporated to provide funding in the amount of $25,000 for essential services of the Sexual Assault Center of East Tennessee. This resolution is not just about dollars and cents. It is about upholding our collective responsibility to support and protect survivors of sexual assault in our community. First and foremost, let us acknowledge the gravity of the issue at hand. Sexual assault is a pervasive and insidious crime that inflicts immeasurable harm upon its victims, shattering lives and undermining the fabric of our society. As elected representatives, it is our duty to stand in solidarity with survivors, to listen to their voices, and to ensure that they receive the care, support, and justice they deserve. Furthermore, the essential services provided by the Sexual Assault Center of East Tennessee play a pivotal role in the healing and recovery process for survivors of sexual assault. From crisis intervention and counseling to advocacy and legal support, these services offer a lifeline to individuals in their darkest hours, empowering them to reclaim their lives and assert their rights in the aftermath of trauma. Moreover, let us recognize that our support for survivors of sexual assault extends far beyond the walls of any single organization or program. It is a reflection of our commitment to creating a community that is safe, supportive, and inclusive for all individuals, regardless of their gender, race, or background. By investing in the essential services of the Sexual Assault Center of East Tennessee, we are sending a powerful message that survivors are not alone, that their voices matter, and that we stand with them in their journey towards healing and justice. Additionally, it's important to acknowledge the systemic barriers and challenges that survivors of sexual assault often face in seeking help and accessing support services. These barriers can change from societal stigma and victim-blaming attitudes to practical obstacles such as lack of transportation or financial resources. By providing funding for essential services, we are breaking down these barriers and ensuring that survivors have access to the care and support they need when they need it most. Furthermore, I wish to emphasize the importance of collaboration and partnership in addressing the complex issue of sexual assault. The agreement with the Helen Ross McNabb Center, Incorporated, represents a strategic partnership between the public and private sectors, harnessing the resources and expertise of both organizations to maximize impact and effectiveness in supporting survivors and preventing future violence. Moreover, let us not lose sight of the broader social and cultural shifts that are necessary to eradicate sexual violence from our communities. Education, prevention, and advocacy are essential components of any comprehensive response to sexual assault, and they require sustained commitment and investment from all sectors of society. By supporting the essential services of the Sexual Assault Center of East Tennessee, we're taking a critical step towards creating a culture of consent, respect, and equality for all. In conclusion, I urge each and every one of you to lend your support to the resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the Helen Ross McNabb Center, Incorporated, for the essential services of the Sexual Assault Center of East Tennessee. Our support for survivors of sexual assault is not merely a matter of policy or funding. It is a reflection of our shared humanity and our commitment to justice, compassion, and dignity for all. Thank you. Free Palestine, cease fire now.
Next person signed up to speak is Madison Funk. Madison Funk, please come to the podium. You have up to 5 minutes to address council.
Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you to advocate for the passage of a Resolution 11E, which authorizes the mayor to execute an agreement with Helen Ross McNabb Center to provide funding in the amount of $25,000 for the essential services of the Sexual Assault Center of East Tennessee. This resolution, requested by the Knoxville Police Department, is not merely a matter of financial allocation. It is a critical step towards fulfilling our moral obligation to assist and support sexual assault survivors in their time of need. At the heart of our consideration is the imperative need to provide comprehensive and compassionate support to survivors of sexual assault. Sexual violence is a deeply traumatic experience that can have devastating and long-lasting effects on survivors' physical, emotional, and psychological well-being. It is our duty as a community to ensure that survivors have access to care, resources, and support they need to heal and rebuild their lives. Furthermore, the funding provided through this resolution will enable Sexual Assault Center of East Tennessee to continue offering essential services to survivors, including crisis intervention, counseling, advocacy, and support groups. These services play a crucial role in helping survivors navigate the complex and often overwhelming aftermath of sexual assault, providing them with a safe and supportive environment where they can seek guidance, validation, and healing. Moreover, the resolution underscores our commitment to creating a culture of accountability and prevention when it comes to sexual violence. By investing in organizations like the Sexual Assault Center of East Tennessee, we send a powerful message that sexual assault is not tolerated in our community and that survivors will be believed, supported, and empowered to seek justice and healing. Additionally, the funding provided through this resolution will have far-reaching benefits beyond just assisting individual survivors. It will also contribute to raising awareness about sexual violence, challenging harmful attitudes and beliefs, and promoting a culture of consent, respect, and equality. By investing in prevention efforts and education initiatives, we can work towards creating a safer and more inclusive community for all. Furthermore, the Sexual Assault Center of East Tennessee plays a crucial role in collaborating with law enforcement, healthcare providers, and other community partners to ensure a coordinated and effective response to sexual violence. By providing funding to support the center's essential services, we strengthen these partnerships and enhance our collective ability to respond and prevent sexual assault. In conclusion, I urge each member of this council to listen to us for once and support the Resolution 11E and authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with the Helen Ross McNabb Center for funding the essential services of the Sexual Assault Center of East Tennessee. By standing in solidarity with sexual assault survivors and investing in the resources and support they need, we demonstrate our commitment to justice, compassion, and healing. Let us take this important step towards creating a community where survivors are believed, supported, and empowered to reclaim their lives. Ceasefire now.
Okay, council members, that concludes people who signed up to speak to item 11E. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
11F is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with KMF3 Services LLC to perform lawn and landscape maintenance services at Safety Center located at 165 South Concord Street in an amount not to exceed $29,620.
Second.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Two people have signed up to speak in favor of this. First is Fatima El Hassan. You have up to 5 minutes to address council.
Fatima Hassan, 37923. Esteemed members of the council, distinguished guests, I stand before you today to advocate for a resolution that not only beautifies our city, but also nurtures our natural environment. The resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with KMF Services LLC to perform lawn and landscape maintenance services at Safety City located at 165 South Concord Street. This resolution, with a budget not to exceed $29,620, is not just about maintaining green spaces. It's about fostering a sense of pride in our community, supporting native flora and fauna, and preserving the beauty of Knoxville for generations to come. First and foremost, let us recognize the intrinsic value of green spaces in our urban landscape. Beyond their aesthetic appeal, parks and public gardens provide vital ecosystem services, such as carbon sequestration, air purification, and stormwater management. By investing in the maintenance and enhancement of these green spaces, we are not only creating vibrant recreational spaces for our residents, but also safeguarding the health and well-being of our environment. Furthermore, the importance of native plants to our region cannot be overstated. Native flora play a crucial role in supporting local biodiversity, providing habitat and food sources for native fauna, and maintaining the delicate balance of our ecosystem. By prioritizing the use of native plants in our landscaping efforts, we are preserving the unique character and ecological integrity of our region while also reducing the need for water, fertilizer, and pesticides. Moreover, let us acknowledge the aesthetic and cultural significance of native plants in shaping the identity of our community. From the vibrant blooms of spring wildflowers to the fiery hues of autumn foliage, native plants offer a kaleidoscope of colors and textures that reflect the rich tapestry of our natural heritage. By incorporating native plants into our urban landscape, we are celebrating the beauty and diversity of our local flora and connecting residents to the natural world around them. Additionally, investing in lawn and landscape maintenance at Safety City is not just about aesthetics. It's about creating a welcoming and inclusive space for all members of our community. Safety City serves as a hub for educational programs and our community events, providing valuable resources and opportunities for residents of all ages. By ensuring that Safety City is well-maintained and inviting, we are reaffirming our commitment to creating safe, accessible, and vibrant public spaces for everyone to enjoy. Furthermore, let us consider the economic benefits of investing in green infrastructure and landscaping services. Well-maintained parks and green spaces enhance property values, attract tourists and visitors, and stimulate local economic activity. By beautifying Safety City and supporting native flora and fauna, we are not only enriching the quality of life for residents, but also bolstering our city's economic resilience and competitiveness in the long run. Moreover, I wish to emphasize the importance of environmental stewardship and sustainability of our landscaping practices. By adopting eco-friendly techniques such as xeriscaping, composting, and integrated pest management, we can reduce our ecological footprint and promote the health and vitality of our local ecosystems. Additionally, In conclusion, I urge each and every one of you to lend your support to the resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with KMF Services, LLC for lawn and landscape maintenance services at Safety City. By investing in the beauty and sustainability of our urban landscape, we are not only enhancing the quality of life for residents, but also preserving the natural heritage of our region for future generations to enjoy. Thank you very much. Ceasefire now.
Okay, next person signed up to speak on this item is Madison Funk.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you to advocate the passage of Resolution 11F, which authorizes the mayor to execute agreement with KMF 3 Services, LLC to perform lawn and landscape maintenance services at Safety City, located at 165 South Concord Street. This resolution, requested by Knoxville Police Department, represents more than just routine maintenance. It's an opportunity for us to embrace sustainability, support native flora and fauna, and enhance the beauty and ecological value of our community. At the heart of our considerations is the recognition of the importance of native plants in our region's ecosystems. Native plants have evolved over a millennia to thrive in our local climate, soil conditions, and biodiversity. By reintroducing native plants to our landscapes, we can create habitats that support a wide range of native wildlife, including birds, butterflies, and pollinators, while also conserving waters and reducing the need for chemical pesticides and fertilizers. Furthermore, investing in native plant landscaping aligns with our broader goals of promoting environmental sustainability and combating climate change. Native plants have deep root systems that help prevent soil erosion, absorb stormwater runoff, and sequester carbon from the atmosphere. By incorporating native plants into our landscape, we can mitigate impacts of climate change, enhance air and water quality, and create resilient, biodiverse communities for future generations to enjoy. Moreover, supporting native flora and fauna contributes to overall health and well-being of our community. Studies have shown that spending time in natural environments has numerous physical and mental health benefits, including reduced stress levels, improved mood, and increased physical activity. By creating green spaces filled with native plants, we provide residents with opportunities for recreation, relaxation, and connection with nature, fostering a sense of belonging and pride in our community. Additionally, investing in native plant landscaping at Safety City serves as a valuable educational opportunity for residents of all ages. By showcasing the beauty and importance of native plants, we can raise awareness about the benefits of sustainable landscaping practices and inspire others to incorporate native plants into their own yards and gardens. Education is key to fostering a culture of environmental stewardship and empowering individuals to take action to protect and preserve our natural heritage. Furthermore, by contracting with KMF3 Services, LLC, for lawn and landscape maintenance at Safety City, we can ensure that these spaces are professionally managed and maintained by the highest standards. KMF3 Services, LLC has the expertise and experience necessary to design, install, and maintain native plant landscapes that are both aesthetically pleasing and ecologically beneficial, ensuring that Safety City remains a safe, inviting, and beautiful place for residents and visitors alike. In conclusion, I urge each member of this council to support Resolution 11F and authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with KMF3 Services, LLC for lawn and landscape maintenance services at Safety City. By investing in native plant landscaping, we demonstrate our commitment to environmental sustainability, support native flora and fauna, and create vibrant, biodiverse communities that enhance the quality of life for all. Let us seize this opportunity to embrace our region's natural heritage and build a greener, healthier future for all of Knoxville. Ceasefire now.
Okay, council members, that concludes people who signed up to speak to this item. Excuse me, you're out of order.
Point of order.
You're out of order. You're out of order. Please sit down. You're out of order, and you're not on the list. So we'll be moving on. Council, do you have any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Parker, I didn't see your light.
Yeah, anytime someone says they've signed up, I want us to look into it.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, you maintain the list. We called the two people who are on there. He's not on there. I called them both. Mr. Johnson?
Last
do you have
time the
any further
email was sent at 4:30, which is before our cutoff time, but it was after the time that they had come down.
Mr. Johnson, did you have any notification from someone else who signed up to speak to
Mr.
item
Gass called.
11F?
Yeah, Mr. Gass called earlier in the day, and I don't recall, I don't have that in front of me. So.
He might not have added this item, Mr. Gass. I mean, Mr. Johnson takes really good care of all these lists.
I'm just trying to clarify.
Yeah.
So Mr. Gass called earlier in the day. You recorded the items that he asked to speak on. This was not one of them.
I don't have it marked down. I may have made a mistake. It's possible.
Okay, since Mr. Johnson is admitting that he may have made a mistake, can we move forward with allowing this speaker to speak, who believes he called in good faith to sign up?
You can make a motion to that effect, if you want to do that.
I don't, man, it shouldn't take a motion. It shouldn't take a motion if there was a mistake made. There's no need to.
Order. You can make a motion, or we'll move on. Will you decide?
Well, my motion is that we follow our rules and allow all speakers who have signed up to speak,
Okay.
and that we acknowledge the mistake made potentially by Mr. Johnson.
Just as a point of information, before I ask for a second, I have called everybody who signed up to speak. Is there a second on Ms. Parker's motion? Seeing none, motion fails for lack of a second. We'll move on. You all have to maintain order. We're doing the city's business. If you aren't quiet and letting council do the business, you'll be asked to leave. Okay? Thank you. Next item.
12A is an ordinance making and fixing the annual appropriations for the several departments, agencies, and funds.
Oh, wait a
yes.
second. We forgot to vote. All those in favor of item 12,
11F.
11F, please say aye. Aye. Council's trying to do their business. Raise your hand if you want to leave. Okay. Yeah, okay, Ms. Sessions? Thank you for maintaining order. Thank you. We're trying to do the city's business, and we're going to let council take this vote and all the other votes tonight. All those in favor of item 11F, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item.
12A is an ordinance making and fixing the annual appropriations for the several departments, agencies, and funds of the City of Knoxville for the fiscal period beginning July 1, 2024 and ending June 30, 2025, and providing the authority to reappropriate non-project related encumbrances at the end of fiscal year 2023-2024 into fiscal year 2024-2025.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Council members, there are 2 people signed up to speak in opposition to this item and 1 person signed up to speak in favor. We'll start with the person in favor. Haley Field. Haley Field, please state your name and address for the record, and you have up to 5 minutes to address council on this item 12A.
My name is Haley Field. My zip code is 37921. I'm here to speak in support of Ordinance 12A. This ordinance provides the authority to reappropriate non-project related encumbrances at the end of the current fiscal year. And I believe this is an opportunity to reassess the city's priorities and to take steps towards addressing one of the most pressing issues that the city has created, which is homelessness. Every night in and around Knoxville, there are hundreds of individuals getting by without shelter, without warmth, and without even the basic necessities of life. While the current proposal includes $8 million for housing initiatives, I urge this council to consider reallocating funds from other areas as is allowed by Ordinance 12A, particularly from the excessive $79 million police budget. We know that in these conversations about the city budget, it's not just about balancing the books, it's about balancing the priorities of the city. So we are left to wonder why, when the city is deciding what to do with $79 million, its top priority is policing the streets and not offering a helping hand to those people who are living on the streets. Reappropriating and reallocating this money could make a tangible difference in the lives of our most vulnerable neighbors. And I would like to add also that what's missing from any conversation about our city budget is that as we speak here, our tax dollars are being used to fund the indiscriminate bombing of homes, hospitals, schools, and civilian infrastructure in the Gaza Strip.
That
Point
is
of
not
order,
germane.
Mayor.
Yeah. Miss.
Point of order.
Yes, Vice Mayor?
This speaker's comments are not germane to this topic.
Okay, I'm ruling you out of order. Haley Field, you're out of order. Please leave the podium. Please leave the podium. Please leave the podium. Haley Field, we're asking you to leave. If you do not leave, you're going to be arrested. Haleyfield, you leave voluntarily or you'll be arrested. Thank you. Next person signed up to speak to this item is Rick Roach. Rick Roach. Rick Roach, you're the next person signed up to speak. Mr. Roach, you have up to 5 minutes to address council. You need to turn the microphone on. There's a little button. There you
There
go.
you
It's on
go.
now.
Love technology. I've spoken a few times when it's time to start getting the budget process rolling. And it's a consistent thing. And it's kind of tiring. And I don't know what to say to you guys to start to listen to people. I'm going to say this real quick, and yes, it does have to do with the budget. If you don't pay attention to the people as they are learning and trying to figure out what this whole governance process is about, because I'm still trying to figure some of this crap out too, okay? If you don't do that, you're going to have a bunch of disgruntled people coming along who the only way that they feel like that they're being heard will be to be nothing but confrontational. Because they'll have it in their mind that that's it. When I started dealing with community stuff, I thought, hey, let's just try and advocate and do all these different things and show up for meetings and people would invite me. Come on, Rick, let's talk. But when it got down to the money, here's the good part. When it got down to the money, I got so much smoke blowing up my behind, you can call me choo-choo. I'm serious. And so repeatedly, when I thought the process was working, when I thought, and in many cases, it really wasn't city revenue that we were dealing with, because the city, as we all know, as this agenda can inform you, gets its money from wherever they can get it. Because the honest part about this is the city doesn't have a commitment to do city business. First and foremost, it's all right to get your federal dollars back. That's tax money that people in Knoxville and Knox County have paid to the federal government, to the state government. That's fine. But you get a large chunk of money that has to recirculate back. And keep in mind, the state of Tennessee is a net bloodsucker. Okay? We don't pay anything into federal taxes compared to what we get back. So we're going to talk about commitment. Let's talk about commitment real quick. This budget does not show a commitment to the people most in need. And the fact that you have to vote on a budget in its entirety and then try and amend it, and you guys know you all don't have a voice. You don't have a voice because she's already earmarked. And so whatever you work out, you probably have to give a couple of pints of blood to make it happen. Okay? And that's no way to do business for other people, to take care of the citizens of Knoxville. It's just not the way to do it. And I don't know what you guys have to do to change this budget process, but I wish you all would have the guts, the collective guts, to flip the script. Okay? Again, on a sidebar, you've got these people here, as annoying as they may be, guess what? They are exercising and teaching you all, if you want to hear it, how to do government. Mayor? Okay? And they're learning, and they're showing off what they're learning. Because you've already told them that their voices count for diddly squat. Okay? Keep that in mind as we go through this process.
Okay, next person signed up to speak is Madison Funk.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you to strongly oppose Ordinance 12A, which proposes the annual appropriations for several department agencies, funds, and cities of Knoxville for the fiscal period beginning July 1st, 2024, and ending June 30th, 2025. While budgeting is a critical aspect of governance, I cannot support this ordinance for several compelling reasons, chief among them being the disproportionate allocation of funds to the police department in wake of concerning incidents and pressing community needs. First and foremost, it is deeply troubling that the police department is allocated over $79 million in this budget, particularly when we are considering the recent events such as the fatal shooting of William Charles McBride and the shooting of an innocent black man earlier today. These tragic incidents have sparked outrage and raised serious questions about police accountability and the need for systemic reforms. Allocating such a significant portion of the budget to the police department without addressing these concerns only serves to perpetuate a cycle of violence and mistrust in our communities. And as a note, Knoxville is famous for having disproportionate violence against its Black community. Moreover, while the police department receives a substantial allocation of resources, the city is allocating only $8 million to address the pressing issues of housing and homelessness. This stark disparity in funding priorities is unacceptable, especially considering the deepening housing crisis and the growing number of individuals experiencing homelessness in our city. We have a moral obligation to prioritize the need of the most vulnerable members of our community, and this budget fails to adequately address their plight. And I'm going to note, time and time again, this is my third time here, homelessness keeps being brought up in front of the city council, and you are doing nothing to stop it. Additionally, the authority to reappropriate non-project related encumbrances at the end of the fiscal year raises concerns about transparency and accountability in the budgeting process. Without clear guidelines and oversight mechanisms in place, there is a risk that funds could be reallocated without proper scrutiny or public input, potentially undermining the integrity of the budget and eroding public trust in our government, which is already near zero. Furthermore, the budget fails to adequately invest in alternative approaches to public safety and community well-being. Rather than pouring more resources into traditional law enforcement methods, we should be exploring innovative solutions that address the root causes of crime and promote social and economic equity. Investing in mental health services, substance abuse treatments, affordable housing, and community-based programs can yield far more effective and sustainable outcomes than simply increasing policing. Moreover, the budget reflects a lack of long-term vision and strategic planning for the future of our city. By focusing primarily on short-term priorities and maintaining the status quo, we risk missing opportunities to invest in infrastructure, education, economic development, and other areas that are critical for ensuring Knoxville's continued growth and prosperity. And I think it's wild that we don't have enough allocated to our education programs. I have a teacher who is an educator, and he is very frustrated with the underfunded schools that we have here in Knoxville. In conclusion, I urge each member of this council to reject the Ordinance 12A and demand a budget that reflects our community's values, priorities, and aspirations. We cannot continue to allow to prioritize the interests of law enforcement over the urgent needs of our residents, especially those of us who are marginalized and vulnerable. Let us come together to demand accountability, transparency, and equity in our budgeting process and work towards a city that truly serves and uplifts all its residents. Cease fire now.
Okay, the next person signed up to speak is Nicholas Gass. You have up to 5 minutes.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature, Miss Kincannon, and you will atone.
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, today I rise to speak against the passage of Ordinance 12A, a measure that proposes annual appropriations for the city of Knoxville for the upcoming fiscal year. While the ordinance aims to allocate funds across various departments and agencies, I must express my deep concerns regarding the disproportionate funding allocated to the police department in light of recent events. The fatal shooting of William Charles McBride, a black man, by the police department has sparked outrage and raised serious questions about the priorities reflected in this budget. Furthermore, as we grapple with a dire housing and homelessness crisis in our city, the paltry amount allocated to address this pressing issue is wholly inadequate and completely unacceptable. First and foremost, let us acknowledge the tragic loss of William Charles McBride, whose life was cut short due to police violence. This incident has once again laid bare the systemic issues of racial bias and excessive use of force within our police department. In the face of such grave concerns, it is unconscionable to approve a budget that allocates over $79 million to the police department without addressing the urgent need for accountability, reform, and community-led solutions. Moreover, the staggering contrast between the funding allocated to the police department and the resources dedicated to addressing homelessness is deeply troubling, with only $9,822,000 and $9,822,720 allocated in total to tackle this crisis. We are failing to provide meaningful support and assistance to some of the most vulnerable members of our community. As the gap between the rich and the poor continues to widen, it is incumbent upon us to prioritize investments in affordable housing, social services, and mental health resources to uplift those in need and address the root causes of homelessness. Furthermore, the passage of Ordinance 12A perpetuates a cycle of over-policing and underinvestment in community-based solutions. By funneling excess resources into law enforcement, we perpetuate a punitive approach to social issues that disproportionately impacts marginalized communities, exacerbates racial disparities, and undermines trust and cooperation between law enforcement and the communities they serve. Additionally, the proposed budget fails to reflect the voices and needs of our constituents, particularly those who have been historically marginalized and disenfranchised. Instead of investing in community-led initiatives and grassroots organizations that are working tirelessly to address the root causes of homelessness and poverty, this budget prioritizes top-down, authoritarian approaches that only serve to further alienate and oppress those in need. Moreover, the budgetary decisions outlined in Ordinance 12A are short-sighted and lack foresight into the long-term consequences of our actions. By neglecting to invest in affordable housing, social services, and mental health resources, we perpetuate a cycle of poverty and despair that will continue to burden future generations. Instead of investing in punitive measures that only serve to perpetuate cycles of violence and incarceration, we should prioritize investments in education, economic opportunity, and community empowerment to break the cycle of poverty and uplift all members of our community. In conclusion, I urge each and every one of you to reject Ordinance 12A and demand a budget that reflects our values of equity, justice, and compassion. We cannot continue to prioritize the interests of law enforcement over the needs of our most vulnerable community members. It is time to reimagine public safety, invest in community-led solutions, and build a city where everyone has access to safe, affordable housing and the opportunity to thrive. Thank you. Cease fire now.
Okay, council members, that concludes people who signed up to speak to item 12A. Vice Mayor Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Frost, would you remind us what our charter says about this first reading of the budget?
Thank you. The charter says the council shall pass it on first reading, then have its budget hearings.
Thank you. And those are currently scheduled in 2 weeks' time. I guess there's a lot to cover, and I think we're not going to have it all time now, but we'll have time in the legislative budget hearings. One of the things I wanted to address that most people don't realize is that we all listen to our constituents throughout the year, and we advocate for the things that are important, and many of those are raised tonight. So I think there was a lot of misinformation that was shared tonight that I don't think reflects the reality of any of our priorities as a council or of this budget, but we'll unpack that in the legislative hearing. I do want to address one of the items that was mentioned, and it's housing. It is a #1 priority of this council. We had a retreat earlier this year. We had a retreat earlier this year and established that as a top priority, and it has been. And if you
Hey, members of the
Yeah,
audience,
thank you.
you're disrupting the public meeting. You'll be asked to leave if you don't
Yeah.
let them have their business.
And if you genuinely seek to help people be housed, you can see those efforts reflected in our work. But I want to address a comment around the budget, being $8 million for housing, either Deputy Chief Brace or Chief Ball or Mayor Kincannon. Would you address what that $8 million allows us to leverage or do that necessarily doesn't come out of our budget from a
Yeah.
housing standpoint?
Vice Mayor, I'll provide the initial answer, and if we need more details, happy to turn it over to Cheryl Ball. But Adam, we've had a great track record of investments in housing, and affordable housing in particular. And this budget reflects that ongoing commitment. As you know, this council passed an ordinance where we were committed to a minimum of $50 million, $5 million a year for 10 years. Every single year since then, we've gone over that minimum. And that money's been used towards permanent supportive housing, towards the construction of new affordable housing. And the money that we've put in, the public local dollars that we've put in, for every dollar we've put in, it's generated $15 in private investment. So we've put in 8 million or so a year, and the total amount that's been invested by the private sector is 15 times that. And so we've helped create and house many, many families who needed that affordable housing. Of course, we understand we need to do more, and that's why we're continuing to invest in Transforming Western. We're continuing to invest in Callahan Flats. We're continuing to invest in Liberty Place. And as you all know, we also have philanthropic dollars that are going to contribute to that gap financing fund as well. So with those pledges, that would take it up to $10 million.
No, not all the departments in the budget, and there's a lot of details in this budget, but not all the departments function in a way where you put some in and you get 15 times that. So I think that's always something that if you're not aware of how the budgeting works, most people in the public don't realize that. There's a lot more to discuss. There's a lot more to discuss, and there will be discussed. The public's allowed to attend our legislative meeting, which is on May 16th. I meant to mention this earlier in my remarks, but May 16th in this room at 8 o'clock, we will have a legislative hearing where we will unpack the budget in detail. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other, Councilmember Parker?
Thank you, Mayor. I think there's no secret that I feel there are many changes needed to our budgeting process, including the calendar still. My preference is that the public hearings, I would like the public hearings to happen before this meeting, but by charter, we can't do that yet. But at minimum, I'd like them closer to this meeting, because that is when we really get into the meat of this budget and understand, following the mayor's budget hearings and the requests made by departments, what requests were approved and what weren't. And that's when we really dig into it. So my preference is that the public hearings are closer to this first reading, and then that gives us more time to consider revisions. versus what we have currently. Also, each time we review the budget, we are reminded of what the charter says about passing it on first reading. However, we're not reminded each year about the Title VI reports that we're supposed to receive by May 1st. And I wonder, are we going to receive them tomorrow? Because those are supposed to be a part of the budgeting process. We're not reminded about the 5-year and 15-year zoning plans that are required by charter that we don't comply with year after year. But when it comes to the budget, all of a sudden, we have to comply with exactly what the charter says, or else. I don't plan to vote in favor of this budget, both to protest our budgeting process, which I think needs to be overhauled, but also because I'm simply in opposition to this budget. It takes my breath away to look at the police budget from 4 years ago. If you go back 5 years, I don't have it in front of me, but I believe it was around 55 million, maybe 57. 4 years ago, it was 61 million. Now we're at 79 million. To compare that with fire, 4 years ago, fire department was at 45 million, now they're at 55 million. That budget's gone up 10 million, police budget's gone up about 20 million in 4 years. Why? This is all happening during a period of time when all around the nation and even here in our city, we've asked for police reform. We've demanded it, we've marched in the streets, we've come before our leaders with our own ideas, we've run people for office, we've secured seats. We've done so much work to try to keep our communities safer. But we haven't committed to that earnestly as a city. We did a reimagining policing process that took 2 seconds, created the co-responders program, and we continue to see deaths at the hands of our police officers by people experiencing mental health crisis. We continue to see it. We don't question it. We just move on, business as usual. We really, there's so much that we could do. There's so much more that we could do if we truly made a commitment to making the changes needed for our community. Instead of, I can't think of a better way to say it than blow hot air. I can't think of a better way of saying it, but we continue to say things that sound kind of good, but we ain't really doing it. We're not doing it. And we're continuing to throw money at the police department in just shocking ways. And the result is we still have, 350 authorized officers? That's 20-something officers less than 4 or 5 years ago. So we're chasing after that authorized number, but continue to move further and further away from 400 and something authorized officers. I can't support this budget. We can do better.
Any further comments or questions? Councilman Roberto.
Thank you, Mayor. I look forward to council's legislative budget hearings, as the Vice Mayor just discussed. Looking through the budget, I was really pleased to see that we have an 8% increase in the Affordable Housing Fund. We have an almost 10% increase in overall homelessness prevention. I was really pleased to see $1.5 million for Vision Zero. That included, there's also $500,000 in traffic calming. There's $500,000 in sidewalk repair, which is really needed. I wish there was money for new sidewalks, but I understand, where we are with the budget. I think one of the things that I think a lot of folks may not understand is that we have a jail diversion program called the BHUC, and that has diverted over 2,000 individuals from our judicial system, providing them compassionate, community-based care since its inception. And that's something this council has done. Now, one of the other things that's on this budget that I think is really important is the empath. And that's our ER diversion for people in mental health crisis. And Mr. Brace, I think you've been kind of spearheading that. Can you maybe talk to us a little bit about where you are? I think that project's getting ready to open soon, and that's going to be a very important project for mental health in our community.
Yes, sir. David Brace, Chief of Staff. Yes, that facility is under construction if you go by the St. Mary's campus. They are wrapping up the exterior and interior work. I would need to check on the latest date. I want to say it's the end of this summer, but I'll need to get back to council on the exact date. But that will be an important urgent care facility for North Knoxville. It will also be a place where individuals that need care, but not necessarily sitting in the ER, but actually quality mental health care, can get that sooner and more efficiently.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Parker.
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's really important also to raise my concerns around the salary increases. We just recently, in the last couple of years, went through a comprehensive process to evaluate and increase salary among city staff. And council approved a property tax increase to fund this increase in wages. In this budget, there's a significant wage increase for KPD officers that didn't go through that evaluation that we did a couple of years ago. And what I'm concerned about is a couple of years ago, we identified the increased property tax as the source of income for that salary increase. But we were told, because of the step increases included and the automatic raises that would happen each year, that eventually that salary increase would catch up with that property increase. And the property tax increase would no longer pay for that salary increase. So then we have to rely on other revenue sources, or another property tax increase is needed. So now we're increasing KPD wages. We're not thinking about anybody else. There's a few other positions in here that are getting moved around, but we're not doing a comprehensive look. We're increasing some KPD wages. And we're saying, oh, we got sales tax revenue that's coming in. It's doing great, so we can cover that. Okay, so what happens in 2017 when the other salary increases catch up with this property tax increase? I guess that's for the next mayor to worry about. And that's my concern. People don't understand that, some of the line items that are increasing by small percentages, those should be increasing because we're seeing this increased sales tax. But something like, some pretty substantial salary increases need a substantial, steady, reliable source of income. And I'm worried that we're kicking the ball down the field a bit too much on some reoccurring expenses that we're hoping, I imagine, an increase in sales taxes will cover 5 years from now, or we're expecting another mayor to have to do a property tax increase. That's another reason why I'm not able to support this budget. It concerns me. When we had our initial conversation about salary increases, there was talk of those, for example, in public service, who are at the lower end of that pay scale. And as I saw this budget come forward, You know, I thought about those workers. I don't know exactly who's out during these winter storms working 24/7. I don't know if that's our lowest paid or if that's our highest paid. I imagine it's our lower paid. And when are they going to be considered for another raise? When is that going to happen? Because now we've got our current pay scale we've got to be able to cover after 2027, another pay raise that we've got to be able to cover looking at sales tax increases, but no plan to look at those lower level, lower paid employees to determine how they might. Because we knew at the time, when the pay increase was approved, we knew at the time inflation was going to hit, and this pay increase ain't going to do much. So we're going to need another adjustment for those at the lower end of the scale. But I'm concerned that we're not doing the proper planning. We're, you know, throwing money at the KPD once again. I mean, they came to a city council dinner, and we had one KPD employee tell us he monitors the applications, and it is his determination that a salary increase is needed to improve recruitment. It's not enough.
Thank you. Council members, just for your information, of course, we did a lot of study with the HR department and our consultants, who same ones who did the comprehensive study 2 years ago. So it's very much data-based and based on the labor economics of what's happening in law enforcement right now here and across the country. And I want to make sure all of you, in addition to your legislative budget hearings, if you want to sit down, Ms. Parker, with my Chief of Staff, David Brace, he is willing to sit with you or any other member of council and share with you the details of how we proposed this, you know, why we're proposing this raise. There's also a 2.5% raise for all employees and 4.2% for all uniform employees, including our firefighters. Just as a point of information. Any other questions or comments?
Okay, but can we have to clarify that?
Okay.
Now, council has already approved the 2.5% raise. This is not a new salary raise. This was a part of the comprehensive study. Correct?
Correct.
The increase for firefighters. Can you expound on that and tell us more about the increase for firefighters?
That was due to the salary step schedule that the board, the council adopted as part of our comprehensive study.
Thank you. So that's from 2 years ago. These increases are going to continue to show up in our budget because we approved them 2 years ago. And we have to take them into account each budget year because these costs continue to increase. That's why our property tax won't cover it in 5 years or 4 years or however long it's going to be.
Mr. Brace, do you want to shed more light on that?
Yeah, I think it's important to clarify, and we can get into this during, obviously, the budget hearings, the legislative budget hearings, but the STEP program, so there's the standard 2.5% cost of living that is in code, and that is integrated into the budget annually. And then the STEP program that happened for uniform bodies after about an 11% to 15% adjustment, one-time adjustment, that actually has a sunset, and so that does not go on in perpetuity. And so what the mayor always committed to was the STEP program for a set number of years, and then we would reevaluate all salaries and compensation towards the end of your administration. So those do go away. The extra steps would have to be reevaluated.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none. Oh, Councilmember Fugit.
Thank you, Mayor. This is just a question for the workshop. I don't expect anybody to know this now, but I do know that, you know, we have the TIFs and the pilots, and they eventually roll off, and we get the new tax revenue based on the new appraised value after we made that investment. From time to time, we get a schedule of when some of those should start hitting. That would be nice to also have available as we talk about in the increase in salaries. Our tax revenue will increase based on some of those things. And then that's just something I'd like to have as well. Thank you.
Absolutely. Mr. Evans, CFO?
Yes, ma'am, and Councilwoman Fugit, I know RJ is already working on, we were just talking about it, like, pilots and TIFs roll off and what that does and so forth. But also, every year we have real growth, which usually averages between 1% and 2%. That doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when you apply that to the total amount of property tax, it's substantial, and it's moving more toward the 2% mark now because of all the construction, remodeling, and so forth. So that is very helpful as well.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that. You told us that at our mid-year budget retreat, and I forgot to mention that, but thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 8-1.
I think we did a motion to postpone the second reading for this.
Do we have to do a motion to postpone the second reading?
Yes.
It would probably be best.
Okay. Council, because we usually do second reading 2 weeks after, the law department has suggested that we do an official motion to do the second reading in Tuesday, May 26th, in 4 weeks.
I'll make that motion to
28th.
postpone the second reading to May 28th.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
12B is an ordinance to levy a tax on all taxable properties, real, personal, and mixed, within the corporate limits of the City of Knoxville to provide sufficient revenues to fund the general fund and debt service fund operations and debt service obligations of the City of Knoxville for the fiscal period beginning July 1, 2024, and ending June 30, 2025.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Council members, there are 2 people signed up to speak to this item, and both in opposition. First is Madison Funk. You have up to 5 minutes to speak to council on item 12B.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, today I rise to vehemently oppose Ordinance 12B, which proposes to levy a tax on all payable properties within the City of Knoxville to fund the general fund and debt service fund operations and obligations for the upcoming fiscal period. This ordinance represents an unjust burden on the hardworking citizens of Knoxville who should not be forced to bear the brunt of the city's fiscal mismanagement. First and foremost, it is unconscionable to ask taxpayers to foot the bill on the city's financial shortcomings. The imposition of additional taxes on already struggling residents is unfair and disproportionate, especially considering the lack of accountability and transparency in how previous funds have been allocated and managed. It is simply unjust to expect ordinary citizens to shoulder the consequences of the city's fiscal irresponsibility. Moreover, the proposal to levy a tax without addressing the root causes of the city's financial challenges is short-sighted and misguided. Rather than imposing additional financial burdens on residents, the city should be focused on implementing measures to improve fiscal discipline, streamline operations, and identify efficiencies to reduce costs. Punishing taxpayers with higher taxes is not a solution. It is a Band-Aid approach that fails to address the underlying issues. Additionally, there is a lack of transparency and accountability in how tax revenues are allocated and spent by the city. Without clear oversight mechanisms and accountability measures in place, there is a risk that taxpayer dollars could be wasted or misappropriated, further eroding public trust and confidence in the government. Before asking for more money from taxpayers, the city must demonstrate a commitment to be responsible financially in their management and stewardship of public funds. Furthermore, imposing additional taxes on property owners could have a devastating consequence for low-income families and vulnerable communities. And many residents are already struggling to make ends meet. I'm one of them. And higher property taxes could push them further into financial hardship, forcing some to choose between paying their taxes and meeting their basic needs. It is unacceptable to place such a heavy burden on those who can least afford it. Moreover, The proposal to levy a tax without exploring alternative revenue sources or cost-saving measures is short-sighted and lacks creativity. Rather than resorting to an easy solution of raising taxes, the city should be exploring innovative approaches to generate revenue and reduce expenses. This could include exploring public-private partnerships, implementing user fees for certain services, or identifying opportunities for efficiency improvements. In conclusion, I urge each member of this council to reject this ordinance and demand a more responsible and equitable approach to the city, addressing the city's financial challenges. Taxpayers should not be held responsible for the city's fiscal mismanagement, and it is imperative that the council explores alternative solutions that do not place undue burden on residents. Let us work together to ensure that the city's finances are managed in a responsible, transparent, and accountable manner. Ceasefire now.
Next and final speaker on this item is Nicholas Gass.
What's good? It's Nick. I live somewhere. Council members, distinguished guests, today I stand before you to vehemently oppose the passage of Ordinance 12B, which seeks to levy a tax on all taxable properties within the city of Knoxville to fund the general fund and debt service fund, operations and obligations for the upcoming fiscal year. This ordinance represents an unjust burden on the hard-working citizens of Knoxville, who should not be forced to bear the consequences of our city's financial mismanagement and poor budgeting decisions. First and foremost, let's address the fundamental principle at stake here: accountability. It is unconscionable to ask the citizens of Knoxville to foot the bill for the city's financial woes, which are largely the result of mismanagement, overspending, and a lack of fiscal responsibility on the part of city officials. Rather than imposing additional taxes on already burdened taxpayers, we must demand accountability from those responsible for overseeing the city's finances and demand transparency in the budgeting process. Moreover, the passage of Ordinance 12B sends a clear message to the citizens of Knoxville that their voices and concerns are being disregarded in favor of maintaining the status quo. By imposing additional taxes without addressing the underlying issues of waste, inefficiency, and bloated bureaucracy within city government, we further erode public trust and confidence in our elected officials and perpetuate a cycle of disenchantment and apathy among our constituents. Where was I? Furthermore, it is essential to recognize the regressive nature of this taxation and its disproportionate impact on low-income and marginalized communities. For many residents of Knoxville, especially those living on fixed incomes or struggling to make ends meet, any increase in property taxes represents a significant financial burden that may force them to choose between paying for basic necessities like food, healthcare, and housing, or paying for their taxes. We cannot in good conscience place such a heavy burden on those who can least afford it. Additionally, the proposed tax increase fails to address the root causes of the city's financial challenges and instead relies on a Band-Aid solution that will only serve to exacerbate existing inequalities and hardships. How about, rather than resorting to quick fixes that place the burden on taxpayers, we prioritize comprehensive reforms that address inefficiencies, streamline operations, and ensure that taxpayer dollars are spent responsibly and effectively. Moreover, it is worth noting that the burden of taxation falls disproportionately on homeowners and property owners, while large corporations and wealthy individuals often exploit tax loopholes and exemptions to avoid paying their fair share. Rather than burdening ordinary citizens with additional taxes, we must demand that corporations and the wealthy contribute their fair share to the upkeep of our city and the provision of essential services. In conclusion, I urge each and every one of you to reject Ordinance 12B and demand accountability, transparency, and responsible stewardship of taxpayer dollars from our city officials. The citizens of Knoxville should not be forced to shoulder the burden of the city's financial mismanagement and poor budgeting decisions. It is time for our elected officials to prioritize the needs of the people over the interests of special interest groups and corporate entities. Thank you. Ceasefire now.
Okay, council members, that concludes people signed up to speak to this item. Councilmember Fugit.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Evans, will you confirm for me that the tax rate on that we are voting on is the same tax rate that we have had?
The last 2 years, that is correct, ma'am, 2.1556.
So we are not
Per $100
increasing.
of assessed value, no increase
Right,
whatsoever.
we are not increasing property taxes.
That is correct.
And can you also confirm that the source of revenue for the city, unlike the federal government, we do not get income tax. Our revenue sources are property tax and sales tax revenue. Is that correct?
Those are the two largest ones.
largest
There's a bunch
ones.
of other smaller ones, but those are the two largest
Okay,
sources.
thank you. Just wanted to confirm for the record,
Yes, ma'am.
property taxes are not going up.
No, they're not.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Is there a motion to hear this on second reading in 4 weeks?
So moved.
Okay, motion made to hear this on May 28th has been made and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
12C is an ordinance of the Council of the City of Knoxville to amend Chapter 2, Article 3, Division 2, Sections 2-449, 2-450, 2-458, and 2-459 of the Knoxville City Code to adjust the classification and compensation plans.
Motion made to approve and seconded. We have 2 people signed up to speak in favor of this. First is Madison Funk.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I come before you to discuss the importance of Ordinance 12C, which aims to amend Chapter 2, Article 3, Division 2, Section 249, 2450, and 2458, and 459 of the Knoxville City Code to adjust classifications and compensation plans for city workers. While it is unquestionably vital that we recognize and fairly compensate our dedicated city employees for their hard work and commitment, we must also acknowledge the pressing reality that thousands of Knoxvillians are facing a cost of living crisis. Therefore, as we consider this ordinance, it is imperative that not only we provide the needs of our city workers, but also advocate for measures that support non-city workers who are struggling to make ends meet. First and foremost, paying our city workers fair wages is not just a matter of fairness, it is a matter of justice and respect for their contributions to our community. Our city employees work tirelessly to provide essential services, maintain public infrastructure, and ensure the safety and well-being of our residents. They deserve to be compensated fairly for their hard work, dedication, and expertise. By adjusting the classification and compensation plans outlined in this ordinance, we demonstrate our commitment to valuing and investing in our city's workforce. Moreover, raising the issue of the cost of living crisis facing thousands of Knoxvillians is essential as we consider this ordinance. While we recognize the importance of paying our city workers competitive wages, we must also acknowledge that many residents in our community are struggling to afford rising costs of housing, healthcare, and other essentials. As representatives of the people, it is our responsibility to advocate for policies that address these systemic inequalities and ensure that all members of our community have access to a decent standard of living. Additionally, supporting non-city workers who are facing financial hardship is not only a moral imperative, but also an economic necessity. When workers struggle to make ends meet, it affects the entire community, leading to increased poverty, inequality, and social instability. By advocating for measures such as affordable housing, living wage policies, and access to health care, we can create a more equitable and prosperous city for all residents, not just those employed by the city government. Furthermore, addressing the cost of living crisis requires a comprehensive approach that addresses the root cause of the economic inequality and insecurity. This may include investing in affordable housing initiatives, expanding access to healthcare and childcare, and implementing policies that promote fair wages, workplace rights, and economic opportunity for all. By taking bold and decisive action, we can build a more resilient and inclusive community where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. Moreover, as stewards of public resources, it is our duty to ensure that taxpayer dollars are used wisely and effectively. This means prioritizing investments that have the greatest impacts on improving lives of our residents and strengthening our community as a whole. By adjusting the classification and compensation plans outlined in this ordinance, we can attract and retain talented city employees who are essential to the efficient and effective operation of our government. In conclusion, I urge y'all to support this ordinance and the adjustments to the classification compensation plans for our city workers. At the same time, let us not forget the thousands of Knoxvillians who are facing a cost of living crisis and the urgent need to support non-city workers as well. By advocating for policies that promote economic justice and equity, we can build a more prosperous, inclusive community for all residents. Ceasefire now.
Okay, next person signed up to speak to 12C is Nicholas Gass.
Hi, I'm Nick. I live here. Not like here, not like the council, you know what I mean. Anyway, I got a question for y'all. Why is the French translation of potato apple of the earth? They look nothing like apples. They taste nothing like apples. It's
Mr. Gass,
messed up.
please stay on topic.
My bad, wrong script. All right, esteemed council members, esteemed guests, today I stand before you to champion the passage of Ordinance 12C, an essential measure that seeks to amend Chapter 2 of the Knoxville City Code to adjust the classification and compensation plans for city employees. This ordinance is not just about fair compensation for hard work. It is about upholding the principles of equity and justice that should guide all our actions as public servants. By ensuring that city employees are fairly compensated for their dedication and service, we demonstrate our commitment to valuing and respecting the contributions of all members of our community. First and foremost, let us acknowledge the importance of fair compensation in recognizing the hard work and dedication of city employees. These individuals are the backbone of our city, working tirelessly day in and day out to keep our streets safe, our parks clean, and our communities thriving. It's only right that we compensate them fairly for their efforts, ensuring that they can support themselves and their families while continuing to serve our city with pride and dedication. Moreover, fair compensation is not just a matter of economic justice. It's also essential for attracting and retaining talented and dedicated individuals to public service. In an increasingly competitive job market, it's crucial that we offer competitive salaries and benefits to attract the best and brightest to work for the city of Knoxville. By investing in our employees and providing them with the resources and support they need to succeed, we not only strengthen our workforce, but also enhance the quality of services we provide to our residents. Oh, where was I? One moment. That's not it. There we go. Furthermore, fair compensation is a matter of basic decency and respect for the dignity of all workers, whether they are employed by the city or not. In a society where income inequality continues to widen and working families struggle to make ends meet, it is incumbent upon us as public officials to ensure that all citizens are able to earn a living wage and support themselves and their families. By adjusting the classification and compensation plans for city employees, we set a precedent for fair and equitable treatment of all workers, both within and outside of city government. Additionally, fair compensation is essential for promoting economic stability and prosperity in our community. When workers are paid fairly for their labor, they are better able to meet their basic needs, support local businesses, and contribute to the overall economic vitality of our city. By investing in our workforce and ensuring that all workers are able to earn a living wage, we lay the foundation for a more equitable and inclusive economy that benefits all members of our community. Moreover, fair compensation is not just a matter of social justice. It is also essential for addressing systemic disparities and inequalities that exist within our society. By adjusting the classification and compensation plans for city employees, we have an opportunity to address long-standing inequities in pay and ensure that all workers are treated fairly and equitably, regardless of race, gender, or background. This is not just the right thing to do, it is essential for building a more just and equitable society for all. In conclusion, I urge each and every one of you to support Ordinance 12C and stand in solidarity with city employees in their fight for fair compensation and dignity in the workplace. By adjusting the classification and compensation plans for city employees, we send a powerful message that the city of Knoxville values and respects the contributions of all workers and is committed to ensuring that everyone is able to earn a living wage and support themselves and their families. Thank you. Ceasefire now.
Council members, that concludes the people who signed up to speak to item 12C. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 8-1. Next item, please.
12D is an ordinance to close an unnamed alley from North Central Street to King Street as it runs within City Block 08085, and authorizing the mayor to execute quitclaim deeds to the adjacent property owners, Aaron McLean, applicant, 6th District.
Move to approve.
Motion made to approve and seconded. There are two people signed up to speak in favor of this. First is Nicholas Gass.
You know what they say, first is the worst, second is the best, but I think that's
You
the
have up to
opposite.
5 minutes.
Not that the second is bad, but you know, I'm just the GOAT. All right, esteemed council members, distinguished guests, today I stand before you to advocate for the passage of Ordinance 12D, a measure that proposes to close an unnamed alley from North Central Street to King Street as it runs within City Block 08085. Should have been 80085, that'd be way cooler. Anyway, this ordinance not only addresses public safety concerns raised by the fire marshal, but also ensures that the closure will not impede pedestrian traffic, thus benefiting both the safety and convenience of our community. First and foremost, let us address the primary concern that prompted the proposal of this ordinance: public safety. The recommendations from the fire marshal underscore the importance of ensuring unobstructed access for emergency vehicles in the event of a fire or other crisis. By closing the alley, we mitigate the risk of blocked pathways and ensure that first responders can reach their destination swiftly and efficiently, potentially saving lives and preventing property damage. Moreover, it is essential to emphasize that the closure of the unnamed alley will not disrupt pedestrian traffic or impede access to neighboring properties. The careful planning and consideration that have gone into crafting this ordinance ensure that alternative routes and pathways are available to pedestrians, preserving the ease of movement and accessibility that are vital to the vibrancy of our community. Furthermore, the closure of the alley represents an opportunity to enhance the safety and security of the surrounding area. By eliminating a potentially hazardous thoroughfare, we create a safer environment for pedestrians and residents, reducing the risk of accidents and improving the overall quality of life in our neighborhoods. This proactive approach to public safety reflects our commitment to prioritizing the well-being and security of our community members. Additionally, the closure of the alley aligns with our broader goals of urban planning and development. By reclaiming underutilized spaces and repurposing them for more beneficial uses, we can revitalize our neighborhoods and create opportunities for economic growth and community engagement. The closure of the alley presents an opportunity to reimagine the space as a pedestrian-friendly area, potentially incorporating green space, public art, or other amenities that enhance the quality of life for residents and visitors alike. Moreover, the closure of the alley demonstrates our commitment to responsive and proactive governance. By heeding the recommendations of the fire marshal and taking decisive action to address potential public safety hazards, we uphold our duty to protect the health and welfare of our citizens. This ordinance serves as a testament to our willingness to listen to expert advice and take meaningful steps to safeguard the well-being of our community. In conclusion, I urge each and every one of you to support Ordinance 12D and prioritize the safety and security of our community. And actually, I got a question for y'all. Y'all ever, you guys know Batman, right? You know what happened to his parents? You know, they went down an alley that was like all dark and everything, and they got murdered. And that's like what happened to Batman, yo. I don't want that to happen to like, you know, normal folks. I don't want Batmans running around. That's like messed up. By closing this unnamed alley in City Block 08085, we address public safety concerns raised by the fire marshal while also ensuring that public pedestrian traffic remains unimpeded. This ordinance reflects our commitment to proactive governance, urban planning, and community well-being. Thank you. Ceasefire now.
Okay, next person signed up to speak on this item is Madison Funk.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I come before you to advocate for the passage of Ordinance 12D, which proposes to close an unnamed alley on North Central Street to King Street within City Block 08085, and authorizes the mayor to execute quitclaim deeds to the adjacent property owners, with Aaron McLean as the applicant. This ordinance is not merely a procedural matter. It's a necessary step to address the safety concerns raised by the fire marshal, while also ensuring that pedestrian traffic remains unimpeded. First and foremost, the recommendation from the fire marshal underscores the urgent need to address safety hazards within our city. The fire marshal, whose primary responsibility is to ensure the safety of our residents and property, has identified the unnamed alley as a potential risk to public safety. By closing this alley, we can mitigate these risks and prevent a potential accident or emergency, thereby safeguarding the well-being of our community. Moreover, it is crucial to recognize that the closure of an alley will not only address safety concerns, but also improve the overall functionality and usability of the surrounding area. Unnamed alleys are often underutilized and poorly maintained, posing risks to both pedestrians and vehicles. By closing the alley, authorizing the execution of quitclaim deeds to adjacent property owners, we can create opportunities for redevelopment and revitalization, enhancing the aesthetic appeal and economic vitality of the neighborhood. Additionally, while it is essential to prioritize safety considerations, we must also ensure that the closure of this alley does not unduly impede pedestrian traffic or access to neighboring properties. As we move forward with this ordinance, it is imperative that we seek assurances from City Council and stakeholders, and assurances from City Council officials and stakeholders that alternative routes and pathways will be provided to accommodate pedestrians and maintain connectivity within the area. By proactively addressing these concerns, we can minimize the disruption and ensure that the closure of the alley serves the best interests of the community. Furthermore, the closure of the alley presents an opportunity to enhance public spaces and create more pedestrian-friendly environments. By reclaiming the unused space and incorporating it into adjacent properties or public amenities, we can create vibrant and welcoming spaces that promote community interaction, recreation, and well-being. From pocket parks and green spaces to outdoor seating areas and public art installations, the possibilities for enhancing that area are endless. Moreover, by authorizing the mayor to execute quitclaim deeds to the adjacent property owners, we can facilitate collaborative efforts to improve and beautify the neighborhood. Quitclaim deeds provide property owners with clear title to the land, enabling them to invest in improvements and enhancements that benefit both themselves and the community at large. This collaborative approach fosters a sense of ownership and pride among residents, leading to greater community engagement and investment in the area. In conclusion, I urge each member of this council to support Ordinance 12D in the closure of an unnamed alley within City Block 08085 by prioritizing public safety, enhancing usability, and fostering community collaboration. We create safer, more vibrant, and more inclusive neighborhoods that benefit all residents. Let us seize this opportunity to make our city a better place to live, work, and play. Cease fire now.
Okay, council members, that concludes the people who signed up to speak to item 12D. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we'll move on to public forum. First is Larry McAfee.
Madam Mayor, member of council, Chief Sharp, Chief Noel, Councilmember Roberto.
I had a long speech I had prepared, me and my wife, but you guys look dead, tired, so I'm not gonna hold you.
We're here.
Madam Mayor, we had a very spirited speech, very spirited conversation earlier today. I stand by everything I said, and I hope you appreciate what I said. I understand where you was coming from, but you'll be hearing from me in a couple of weeks. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you. Next person signed up to speak is Brandon Mislick. If you would state your name and address for the record, and you have up to 5 minutes to address council.
Yes, Mayor. Can you all hear me clearly? All right. My name is Brandon Mishlick, District 5. Tonight, I have witnessed the most childish behavior from our mayor, threatening to arrest people who are just trying to speak and use their First Amendment. You're a disgrace. But this is not surprising. How long have we been governed by criminals? All presidents in my lifetime have been war criminals who have sent my fellow veterans, my brothers and sisters in arms, to fight in a foreign land to fight and die in a foreign land in the name of freedom and democracy. A government who sanctioned the deaths and the murders of millions of Iraqi and Afghani civilians. And what did we gain? 30,000 American veterans have committed suicide since that time. One of those being my squad leader, who is no longer here today because he put a bullet in his brain for the crimes he committed and the atrocities he witnessed. And here we are again, witnessing another atrocity in the Middle East. Another bloodthirsty, genocidal regime. And where does our government stand? In support of, financing, and arming that said regime. So tell me, my fellow brothers and sisters, tell me, how long have we been governed by criminals? Criminals like disgraced former President Donald Trump, who labels us who protest against Israel as anti-Semites and terrorists. But yet, the people at Charlottesville on both sides were good people. There were some nice people. When there were literally Nazis that attended that rally. Criminals. Sorry, I'm fired up. Criminals that they say they are devoted to law and order. We're a nation of law and order, yet right now our Supreme Court is considering giving immunity to a former president and to the presidency from here on out. So tell me, are we not governed by criminals? Criminals who tell us that we have no money for housing, food, health care, yet somehow always find money for bombs, banks, and businesses too big to fail. Ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters, the very fabric of our democracy is under threat, our very freedom to speak. We are now witnessing in our nation, the nation that has championed itself on freedom of assembly, expression, and speech, the censorship of our voices like our mayor has done tonight. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, at a speech at Columbia University, made a veiled threat to the protesters there. He, quote, "Enjoy your free speech," unquote, as if he meant to add, while it lasts. You need not just hear their words, but see their actions. The House of Representatives has not only voted to give more money to the far-right extremist government of Israel to continue its ethnic cleansing campaign of Palestinians, but to ban a social media app that more than 150 million Americans use. An application that helped brought to light the lie that Israel is just defending itself. And once you've seen the truth, you can't keep living the lie. The ruling class knows this, and it terrifies them. Those cheers in Congress when the bill was passed was not a victory, but of desperation. Because they know if they can't control the narrative, they cannot control us. So unshackle your minds, my brothers and sisters, for our chains are as only strong as we think they are. Because the time for revolution is now. And this revolution will not be like those in the past that pitted brother against brother and fathers against sons, but brothers standing alongside brothers and fathers their sons. We must be unified and bring about this great change peacefully, lest we become the very thing we are against. And that is why I call on everyone here in Knoxville and around the country to join our brothers and sisters at Columbia and other universities around the nation to not only occupy campuses, but businesses, government buildings such as this, roads and bridges, to continually disrupt the business as usual.
Your
Like
time
the
is
great
up,
civil
sir.
rights
Your
leaders
time is
before
up.
us.
Okay. Next person signed up to speak is Clay Collins. Clay Collins. Mister, you're out of order. You're out of order. Okay, you're going to be escorted out of the building. You either need to be in order or leave the room. Yeah. Hey, Mr. Pirate Gas Guy, you're out of order. I'm asking you to leave right
He
now.
needs to be removed.
I'm asking you to leave right now or you'll be arrested. Leave now or you're arrested. Okay, next person, Clay Collins.
Just turn it back on.
Turn the little button in front that has a person on it. Yeah, you got it.
I was going to start this statement off with good evening. I probably should change that to good morning. My name is Clay Collins. I've been a firefighter for 19 years with the City of Knoxville Fire Department. The reason I'm here today is because many firefighters don't agree with the budget proposal due to the unequal investment into our public safety departments. During the course of the last budget year, we saw increases in call volumes along with the unprecedented ambulance response times, which led to extreme on-scene wait times, accompanied by never-before-seen amounts of mandatory overtime just to cover shifts due to staffing shortages. This led to burnout and low morale. Better opportunities for jobs in the emergency services with higher wages and benefits resulted in 15 firefighters resigning during the budget year. Sadly, we expect more to leave even before the new budget is implemented. Without better pay and compensation, the department will continue to struggle with recruitment and retention. Even with all this adversity, the men and women of KFD still showed up, put on their firefighting boots, and answered a call for service. We respond. We respond early in the morning, in the middle of the night. We respond to alarms, accidents, EMS calls, fire, and, and anything else you might call 911 to need help with. We respond. We worked 48 and even 72 hours in a row due to mandatory overtime. In some cases, we even worked 6 24-hour shifts straight to serve the city of Knoxville. We missed holidays, time with our family, and even time to decompress as we continue to serve the city of Knoxville. The 2024-2025 budget has been set and cannot be changed. That being said, the first step to solving any problem is recognizing there's a problem. Now that we recognize there's a problem, I suggest we go boldly in our solution. In the 2025-2026 budget, the Public Safety Department should have paid parity between both departments. You may ask, what does that look like? The answer is more simple than what you think. If a KPD has a recruit starting at $51,000, KFD should have a recruit starting at $51,000. When the recruit becomes a firefighter, the pay should be $56,885, the same as when a recruit becomes a police officer. And as they progress using the same structure as the police department pay grades. This will solve 2 problems immediately, by increasing recruitment and retention rates. By doing this, Knoxville will become a shining example of how public safety should be valued for others to follow. We are a city of leaders, not followers. Will you, Mayor Kincannon and the City Council, answer our call? Will you respond to the needs of KFD and the needs of the community to keep the most qualified, the best first responders on the front lines to answer the 911 calls? We put our lives in danger so others don't have to, because we want to help the citizens of Knoxville during their greatest time of need. This is what we are trained and called to do. It is an honor to serve our community and help those in need. KFD will continue to answer the call because KFD responds. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person signed up to speak is Rick Roach.
Rick Roach, Knoxville. First off, at the park meeting last Thursday, during our public forum time, we had questions, several of us had questions for Chief Noel. And he was surprised. I mean, he's expressed it pretty much early on after he was hired. He actually, it was a funny thing. He turned to some, I guess it was another officer or whatever, and he said, "What the hell is this with this public forum?" Okay? That's your hire. Now, it's not anything personal against Chief Noel, but he basically repeated the same sentiment Thursday when I asked him some questions about what happened about 4 weeks ago, a resolution, empty balcony, okay? Empty balcony now is because nobody gives a damn, and they say, you guys can do anything you want. But when you did have some folk here crushed out into the lobby, you had, by your order, Mayor, can you admit that you ordered this to shut this balcony down? Can you admit that? Can you admit that?
As a reminder, Mr. Roach, public forum is a one-way thing. It's not a dialogue,
Well, that's
it's
a good
a monologue.
thing. It's a good thing because your silence speaks
You have
volumes.
3 minutes and 18 seconds
That's
left.
right. Thank you. Don't interrupt me while I'm talking, okay? On top of that, you're a very rude person. Now, let's just do this right. That city council meeting with the empty balcony, I asked Chief Noel on the break as he stood there, and he said, "Can't talk to you right now. I'm watching the people walk out." Because I asked him the question of, who ordered the balcony shut down? When I was kept out in the lobby, and I was scheduled to speak on 4 different ordinances on second reading, I was excluded from doing that because the order had been changed, and I guess there was a consent agenda passed all of a sudden because in anticipation of all the interested people in the crowd, and y'all knew y'all wasn't going to do anything in the first damn place, okay? Because none of you had the guts to second the resolution, okay? Yeah, you can shake your head, Finance Director. You can shake your head all you want to. I don't care. This is my public forum. I like it. Okay? Let's be real here, people. Too many games are being played. And the people of Knoxville are not being served. See, I'm coming from my own experience as a native Knoxvillian who has watched changes happen over and over again, and for particular communities, it's still the same stuff. And I'm going to keep saying this until it sinks in, okay? We got debates going on about whether or not $42 million should be considered as part of literally, we can't call it reparations. You can't say that. I call it restoration funds, okay? We can't even say that. We can't even say that because y'all don't want to deal with the history. Y'all don't want to deal with the history and how it connects directly into today, what's going on today. Okay? Y'all know me. I started working in the community, and I tried being functional. And I've watched things come and go, and people be ill-served. And it is getting old, okay? Because some of y'all getting paid. I'm gonna say it, some of y'all getting paid, okay? Because nothing's happening for the people that need it the most. That's where you should be focusing. Bye-bye, Ms. Rude.
Okay, the final speaker for public forum is Madison Funk.
All right. I know all y'all must be pretty tired of seeing me here by now. You might not know it, but there is a pretty easy way to get me and my comrades to stop showing up. All you have to do is pass a symbolic permanent ceasefire resolution. Now. I know your tricks by now, City Council and Mayor Kincannon. I know that you believe that Knoxville does not have a foreign policy, and that belief is honestly rich, coming from the woman who visited Israel before her incumbency, despite citywide outcry not to. Don't you think it's ironic? No. Hypocritical that you would say Knoxville doesn't have a foreign policy after directly taking action in, you guessed it, foreign affairs. If we can have a mayor take part in foreign affairs once, why can't we have it again? Especially when the people are demanding it this time. Is it because you're scared? Seema, I know you said that you were scared after March 16th, which, again, I find very ironic. Because for me and everyone here, we have never felt safer than when we were in the presence of our Palestinian brothers and sisters. We have never felt safer than when we were surrounded by each other. You want to know why? It's because we stand together. We know right from wrong. We know morality from inhumanity. We know that at the end of the day, we have each other's backs, that we are in this struggle together. So, if you really felt scared on March 16th, up until now, I want you to take a moment to think of why. Were you scared of the people? Or were you scared of the power that we hold? Are you scared of what will happen when the people realize that power? That you'll be voted out of office? That you will face public shame and ridicule? That your lives will be forever changed because you refuse to stand with those who needed it most? I am done imploring you to pass or veto resolutions that the community speaks out against. In my time here, and it's only been 3 weeks, it has been made abundantly clear that you truly do not give one singular damn about what the community has to say. For example, last time we met, Tommy, you had the opportunity to allow more speakers at public forum. But then when you found out that it was more than one person, not only did you silence her voice, you silenced ours. Then you blamed it on us, instead of looking inward and asking yourself, why did I do that? I represent these people. I owe it to them to listen. They are the reason I have a job. That, above all else, has proven to me, my comrades, and the community, that you would rather blame the community's outcry for justice than take the blame yourself for your actions. You would rather not have to listen to our demands than take responsibility for the voices you silenced. You would rather live in ignorance to the plight of the members of our community and their families, both here in Knoxville, in the U.S., and across international borders. With that in mind, I want to read If I Must Die, a poem by Rafit al-Rir. A Palestinian man wrote this to his daughter before he was killed. His daughter, her husband, and their newborn baby son were killed in the ongoing Palestinian genocide. If I must die, you must live. to tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings, and make it white with a long tail, so that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad who left in a blaze and bid no one farewell, not even to his flesh, not even to himself, sees the kite, my kite you made, flying up above, and thinks for a moment that an angel is there, bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope. Let it be a tale. Cease fire now.
Cease fire now!
Okay, council members, that concludes public forum. Without objection, this meeting is adjourned.